Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021, the Bangladesh region, of course, sponsored by Oppo Reno 5. My name is Fixes, joined by Necro, and we have gotten into the regional finals after the group stages being over, from which we got 15 teams and one invited team from Bangladesh region, that is Team INES. So coming forward, what do you think these teams have to offer today?
I mean, of course, as we were talking about INES, one of the really old teams that Bangladesh has to offer, and definitely back in the days they were the most dominating teams, but after some roster changes, yeah, they have been crumbling apart slowly and steadily. But yeah, I mean, we can definitely expect them to actually work around it, and this time, yeah, they have been getting so much time to practice as well.
Yeah, they've definitely gotten a lot of time to just practice and prove the mettle in front of their audience and throughout across the world, so as to say. Because this is a team that I know, had a lot of good players. You talk about Machine, you talk about Kapshi. Every single player was one of those front runner in their region. But slowly but surely, we did see them kind of falling apart because the players kind of, went into different rosters, which is pretty much a common phenom during this entire esports, culture that we have developed. So let's take a look at what these teams are actually fighting for. Let's take a look at what INS is looking forward to. That is, of course, the road to PMPL, those 3 slots that we have from the Bangladeshi region.
Indeed. I mean, of course, we all want to see which teams are going to be getting there. And that one invited team, of course, if they actually dominate their way through, but of course, Blood Legion is not going to let that happen. We have seen how aggressive they are and how just the way they play is just such a fascinating way they play. And of course, I want to see Gyro and Dominic just absolutely dominate the field.
I mean, to be honest, yes, that's what we are really hoping for, because this is a team that has, stepped up into the arena and has, come up with a lot of promises, the way they played. Of course, the last day was not really how they wanted it to be, but I'm pretty sure they're going to, catch themselves up. But this brings us to one of the other teams that made it through the last day. That's ALxK9 1952. So what is your take on them?
I mean, they literally just clutched it at the last moment, right? The first map, they got the chicken dinner, and then later on, yeah, they did perform really consistent, and also they tried their best to actually get those placement points and even those kill points. So I feel like A1952 has definitely clutched their position inside, but now this time, of course, they have so much room to work around and so much space to work around and a lot much more time as well. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be playing and performing this time now.
Yeah, of course, it is going to be really imperative to see how they perform. But what are they performing for? That's the money, the moolah that's on the line. Let's take a look at the prize pool, and it's $29,200 that's on the line, of course, from which the first position is going to get the major chunk of it. And we also know that, from 16 to 32nd, the prize pool has already been distributed. $300, $1,100. That's about it. That's where the journey ends. So, of course, all those teams that could not really make it to the regional finals will, of course, be trying even better. You know, they know their mistakes, and the next time they come up during their national tournament or maybe the next PMCO, that's when we see all these teams coming back and performing better.
Of course, the upcoming events, it's going to be a new rising sun for them. Yeah. And how are they going to be performing as well? Now, they will have to step up their game. The way they play, the way their team coordination works, they will have to step it up. And as well, as you were talking about, like the prize money has already been distributed. Of course, they're going to be disappointed because they haven't really gotten that much of the chunk. But yeah, I mean, of course, this was like a learning aspect for them. They can learn from this, how they were actually getting countered easily and how they were getting tackled by all these teams. This is definitely going to be giving them so much experience overall.
Yeah, of course, and 100% agree with you. You know, the disappointment is definitely going to be there, but you know, the heartbreaking factor is that they do not have a chance anymore to, you know, proceed further in all those major tournaments that we have been upcoming. We have upcoming for, you know, in the realms of PUBG Mobile. So let's take a look at the point distribution table, because now things are squared even. Now everything is to bottom 0, so they're all going to start from a clean slate, and the first position, of course, getting 15,
yeah.
Reducing down to 13 and 16, getting 0. Then that 1 kill point is, of course, the highlight of this points distribution table that I can see.
Indeed, I mean, I can already see Blood Legions up top there. I don't know why. I'm just like already imagining them on top of the leaderboard, because just the way they've been performing. Also, we cannot forget about ERZxTRZ.
Right.
What a massive performance this team has been putting up as well. Mamba, if we take a look, of course, he has been supporting his team as well, but also at the same time managing to get those frags in while using utilities and doing the support role is just an absolute, you know, just inspiring thing to watch.
Yeah, of course. You know, talking about Mamba, he was there in those kill leaders, right, overall. So now, you know, now since INES has gone through another roster shuffle, we did see Yashiro, of course, playing from the boys from God's Reborn. They've made their way in. So this is kind of a new roster for INES. We'll have to see how they perform. And along with that, we cannot also rule out Team IPGX and Exentric Infinity, who have also been really consistent in terms of numbers. So we've got to pay a keen eye into them, and also XCvSe, you know, Jerry coming in, and well, he's been so consistent. Their entire team so consistent in terms of position points. But as we are talking about all these teams, let's take a look at the squad roster and see who are the ones that are going to be participating with us.
Of course, it's going to be our INES, and then Blood Legions, as we all know, one of the most dominating teams that have been up there. ERZxTRZ, XCvS, Exentric, Infernal, Parasite, Max Esports, God's Reborn. Max Esports definitely not able to show up in the last day there, but as well, they were trying their best to actually get on top of there. But yeah, they have been frozen their spot in these top 15 situations. So I feel like Max Esports has done a pretty good job as long as they have in their hands.
Yeah, of course. And moving along, we've got the likes of KSAX and even ALK9, two of these teams. You know, KSAX also made it through in the last day. But I think ALK9 had been one of those consistent rosters. And moving along further, Log 1, Wolfplug Diamond. Of course, huge props to these lads also getting those chicken in the last day and somehow managing to edge it out. Because even the last game of Erangel, they did not have any points from kills. But of course, those position points really helped them solidify the position to the finals. But now that we just have our 16 teams, you know, these 16 teams, ladies and gentlemen, will be playing their games throughout those 5 days we have. So 20 games, and all you need to do is get the top spot, or maybe at the worst get the second or third, because only those teams are gonna be making it to the PMPL 3 slots only. Now heading on, you know, we've got the same maps going along. We've got Erangel twice per day. So I think the first game is going to be really important. So what do you think would be the differentiating factor, and which team do you think might get the chicken?
Well, I mean, of course, the first game is like the most important to get your momentum going in the rest of the maps, because, of course, if you're going to be getting that chicken dinner in the first game, or at least like get those top 5 position, not even a chicken dinner, top 5 position, of course, your confidence will be up there on the Cloud9. But now, what will be interesting to see is that, of course, one of the invited team has joined in. How are these going to be capitalizing on them? Now, I, of course, want to see these two fight, which is going to be Blood Legion and INES. So how are they going to be like capitalizing on each other? Of course, Blood Legion also one of the most like strongest team Bangladesh has to offer, and of course INES one of the most oldest teams that Bangladesh has to offer over here. And how are they just going to be fighting overall? And then comes ERZxTRZ as well. Like, it's just like a triangle of death.
I mean, the trifecta of death, as we love to call it. But, you know, at the same time, you know, we kind of undermining the players of XCvse. We can never disregard them considering how consistent they have been. And I've always been harping about this. You know, consistency is the key. You do not need to, you know, get chicken dinner in every single game. I mean, if you get that, that's good. But it's not really possible that, you know, out of 20 games, you get 20 chickens. So what you need to do is always try to be in those top 3 position, at least with 6-7 kills, and then you're just good to go. You're getting an average about 15-16 points. So if you continue maintaining that, which is possible if you are really well prepared, then you might emerge out as the champion. But before being champions, you need to play every single game as if it's your last game, as if you have to give it all, because one small mistake might just result in a different points table during the end, because that's what we have seen from this new points table, right? We've seen teams making a comeback which were way off in 26th or 27th position. Courtesy to those chicken dinners, the difference is so small. You know, the new point standing, the difference is not that big. If you get a chicken or you come second spot, it's just 3 points. If you get 3 kills, you've kind of leveled up the score. So yeah, I think that's going to be really important. But moving along further, like in Erangel, so I think we can say that Team INES is definitely that X factor that we're talking about, because of course these teams have played against them in the past, but what are they going to offer? Are they going to offer something new or the same old strat? So that's what I'm really excited for. What about you?
I mean, as we were talking about, of course, this roster changes have been coming in the past. So, I mean, in there has been a massive gap between. So, I feel like at that time, these guys definitely might be preparing some new stats, just, making a new recipe to, like, actually work around the situations that they are going to be put in. And, of course, they have been keeping their eyes on the leaderboards as well. Like, taking a look at Blood Legions is absolutely dominating. I'm pretty sure they will come up with a counter strategy as well.
They certainly might. They certainly might. You know, INES, they've got the likes of Tier, like I've mentioned, who was one of the members of the OG INES that we have known and loved so far. You know, the kind of display they did in the previous PMPL, that was amazing to just watch them perform. This was a team that was pretty aggressive, right on your face, and teams could not really predict you. Now, talking about predictability, right? There comes a moment that, okay, so we know that Blood Legion is a really aggressive team. They like to take fights on your face, and Bangladeshi region in a nutshell is pretty much aggressive. Maybe not like Pakistan region, but still, more aggressive than the Nepali region that we've seen so far. So do you think that Blood Legion might be having a few tricks up their sleeves to notch the pace down a bit?
Maybe, all we can say right now is just maybe, because we don't really know what kind of strategies these guys are going to be pulling up. But of course, like, realizing these are one of the main matches they will have to play. Of course, I feel like they will try to pull out their passive and strategy card as well. Yeah. But also at the same time, if the aggression is needed, Blood Legion's not going to be stopping anytime soon. Yeah,
they certainly aren't going to be stopping anytime soon, and they will have to start their journey for the regional finals, their road to PMPL yet again. So let's take a look at the schedule that we have lined up for you guys tonight. And that's going to be in Erangel, Sanhok, Miramar, and Erangel that we've been talking about.
Classic,
of course. Yeah, pretty classic, pretty standard. We've been seeing this through the group stages. So coming back again to Erangel. So like we mentioned, INES is definitely one of the teams, but Exentric Infinity, Infernal, Parasite, GX might also surprise us. And even the biggest surprise is going to be Max Esports as to how they are playing. As we head along to our first game, ladies and gentlemen, the flight path trajectory, oh my goodness.
It's an unfortunate flight path, as we talk about, of course, favoring the military base. But what if the circle is actually made near military base as well? Now, I'm going to make the circle prediction over here, and I feel like the circle is going to be covering Yasna, Polna, Rosehawk, School, and just like overall the complete right side. I feel like this is where the circle is going to be going to. But just take a look at how many teams ejected early off.
Yeah, of course. Everyone trying to get their vehicles going in for themselves. The first one might, of course, have a lot of choices. You can go for some, Carmageddon. You can just trample over a few players here and there looking for their vehicles who are actually lost, or you can just drop off at your designated drop location that you intend to. But what's really surprising is that nobody has taken control over the melee base.
Indeed, I mean, of course, a lot of teams are actually scared to go military base. Of course, like it is one of the most like aggressive spots to go forward. And if you get eliminated early off, and as this is like the start game, of course, your confidence and morale is going to be downing so hard. Like your teammates were definitely not going to be having that much confidence as they want to move forward in the rest of the maps. But just take a look at the circle as well. Seems like it's going to be favoring military base. And of course, as I said, it's going to be going on the right side. And seems like almost my predictions were right, but I wasn't really expecting the circle to actually cover the military base like completely. I was expecting it to like cover Nova Rupnoy, Military Power, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's almost there.
I mean, it's still there, but you know, if you take a look at the circle, it's getting very, very crucial for these teams to you know, try to predict where the end zone is going to be, because now that you've got the like kind of the entirety of military base, it's already like around 98% that's covered. So there's high possible chances that the circle might shift down south, or even there's a high possible chance that it might go towards let's say Milta. So you know, the farm area, the Milta area, that's going to be really crucial. You know, that's a junction point where you kind of try to block off those bridge areas. So a lot of teams would be, you know, trying to get their early loot going in their favor. Then they might just, you know, decide that all right, so we've got our loot, let's just go and bridge camp. But at the same time, they have to be really conscious about the fact that if the circle goes down south, there might just be another team that made a rotation from the, you know, military bridge, not the Nova bridge. So they might already be there. So we've seen this in the past. You know, every single time the circle shifts towards the southern side, a lot of you know, dead fishes are caught in the ocean. So even last time around, in fact in the last game, we did see the players of ERZxTRZ, you know, dishing out heavy damage from being the king of the hill spot. And right off the bat, we can see the players of AGT9. I mean, they had a chance. They had a chance to go towards the melee base, but they decided it's better to, you know, just swim their way across. So let's see how they perform.
But also at the same time, now, if you take a look at IPG4, one of the members already, like, one of the enemy has already capitalized on their position and already has backed off, and seems like he's going to be swimming all the way across the military base all by himself, going to be trying to back off to his teammates. But of course, as we were talking about the zone and the rotations that are going to be coming inside later on, some teams that have been dropping in the Georgia Pool and hospital areas are going to be struggling so much to get inside the zone, because as we saw, there's just so many teams covering the zone edges as well.
Yeah, of course. And this is the team that we've been looking out for, XP Blood Legion. Now, they're propped up at Rozhok. This is a team, I think Rozhok is a pretty good spot. You know, you've got a lot of good rotation paths that you can actually execute. You've got a free loot, so you're going to rotate really quick. So that's going to be important as to how and when they are making the rotation. But seems like Jigsaw has been spotted, taking a few bullets over there, and will patch himself up.
Indeed, he's going to be patching himself up. One of the biggest members Wolf has to offer is going to be definitely Jigsaw, and then comes the other teammates as well. But Jigsaw, of course, proving the grounds for himself and just coming out on top in each and every single fight is just an absolute pleasure to watch. But now, take a look at ALxK9. It seems like they are going to be having the entire Pachinki to themselves, and they are going to be coming out on top with just an absolute good loot for themselves, an absolute good juice loot. And this is what is going to be interesting, because in those late circles you definitely need a lot much more meds and a lot much more frag grenades, and just overall utility. You just need everything a lot much more. And now just take a look at over here as well. Seems like they are working around, and EC Thunder definitely, I mean, struggling a little bit on the med side because he only has 2 first aids for himself. But yeah, of course, has 10 bandages going up for himself. But yeah, I'm pretty sure as the time goes on and time passes by, these guys are going to be getting the loot in as well.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Exentric Infinity, it's also a star-studded lineup. You know, if they've got the likes of Riedel, they've got the likes of CY, whom we've seen performing so well right from the very first day in the PMCO. So, you know, moving on forward, talking about Pachinki circles, we just got to witness that once, where ERZxTRZ, of course, you know, raced their way in to the chicken dinner. They were not inside the circle, but still somehow managed to do so. But now we're talking about team Log1 Esports. So this is a team, you know, that started off really well, but then sort of fizzled out, but somehow gathered themselves up in those in fact, in the final day, they managed to secure the spot. So, of course, we are going to eye out on this team as well because they've got that potential, they've got that spark that we've been seeing. But you cannot let it diminish because once you do that, you are just going to hurt yourself. You're just going to fall short in those points table. So right in the first game, I don't think that any team would be wanting to go off without even a single point earned. But right now, everyone is just focused. Everyone is scattered across the map. Everyone with one motive to get a good position. And if you get a few free kills here and there, might as well take it.
Indeed, might as well take it. But overall, as we were talking about now, the rotations are coming in through as well if we take a look. Now, of course, as we were talking about, the outer skirts are going to be having so much more difficult time in rotating inside. But as well, if they actually manage to rotate all the way from the top side to like completely on the right side, of course it's going to be taking like a lot much more time in the rotation as well, but it's the first though, not going to be doing a lot much more damage. So of course, yeah, you might get those safe rotations in as well. But of course, one of the big teams have been outside the circle, but now, how are they going to be capitalizing the circle and trying to rotate inside the circle? It's going to be a question for myself that I'm going to be asking myself, and as well, I'm going to be asking Fixes as well.
I mean, Necro, like this is where we have to drive back, and we also have to include one more map. That is going to be Sanhok. So in the map of Sanhok, you've seen a lot of teams taking those waterways, right? So do you think a team might just try to do that? But before that, let me hold on to my thoughts as we see A1 Esports 952 C minor, one of the best players in their region, who's regarded as suddenly stepped off from his car. That's kind of funny. But kind of getting back to our conversation, do you think someone might take a waterways route? Because it's possible. It's just a southern base. Might as well take the boat and go in for an early rotation down from the southern side and maybe act upon it.
Indeed. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see. But of course, if the circle is completely favoring the military base, then I feel like each and every single team has to take those waterways unless you have those guts to actually take the bridge and just get absolutely your vehicle decimated by just so many bullets attacking at you. Then, of course, yeah, you might be taking the bridge away as well. But, of course, I feel like rotating inside water is the most safest way, but at the same time is the most harmful way as well. Because inside water, you cannot be using your guns. All you can do is just get shot if you are getting spotted. But of course, this is where the strategy comes in and where it comes in. It's going to be interesting to see. But now I'm going to hold on to my thoughts as we take a look at Wolves. It seems like they are in a fight against KSX.
Yeah, I mean, this has been pretty standard, right? We have always seen the players of KSX trying to, get to those, eastern side of those Milta areas where you got that dip to play across. So that's pretty standard from their side. But now, this is Team Wolves that we are talking about, Wolves Blank Diamond. Now, this is a team, that did impress us in the final day of the regional finals, getting those chicken and having those back-to-back consistent performance. So moving along further, they are holding the best spot possible inside the circle. So right now, they've got a lot of options. They can either traverse around if the circle kind of shifts around them. So a lot of possibilities are there. But right now, we're kind of looking at a stalemate over here. Both these teams are trying to collect enough information.
But I mean, right now, this is like a pretty equal fight going here, KSX and between Wolves, because one of the KSX members is completely separated from his team in the back lines. Now, of course, Wolf is going to be having a hard time contesting KSX because they will have to take a look in the front as well and also in the back as well. But now, if we take a look at Max, the heroic entry is going to be coming in through. It seems like they're just going to be sinking inside the water.
And there you go, the first player even coming out, Team Max, being bullied out from that position, and right before they know it, they're dead fishes swimming in the water. So this is where the timing really comes in, right? You need to understand, you need to do your homework, you need to know that KSX loves to take the spots, and you should have been prepared. But with that being said, the first airdrop, of course, coming in, the AUG. And KSX, I know what they're up to. Now they want the loot. They want the sweet loot. And in the meanwhile, Sakil manages to get a knock on towards Arsis. So having those flank angles, having those multiple angles playing across those ridges gives you that possibility. Now, this is where, the factor about pushing comes in. You cannot really easily, make a push just with that one knock. And even Team Wolves, if they get a knock on towards the players of KSX, they cannot afford to do that either, because they are kind of in the dark about the position of the remainder of the players. But still continuing to just tap a few bullets here and there. And well, it was kind of really, confusing as to why he was shooting at his own team. Later, we did see that car also popping off.
Yeah, that was kind of a questionable thought for myself as well. But as we take a look at Blood Legion, seems like they are going to be closing on to some people in a while if they just keep on moving the same direction they were looking at. But it doesn't really seem like they're going to be doing so. It seems like they're just going to be contesting a compound inside the circle. But also at the same time, just take a look at so many his teammates outside the compound as well. Now, this is what I'm talking about Blood Legion overall. Like, they are just not scared of anyone. They are in the open crowds, watching out each and every single angle, but also sometimes that can be harmful for your teammate, but also at the same times it can also favor your team as well. Now, just take a look at Wozo over here, trying to contest on the KSX since a really long time, but there is one more team who is entered in the fight as well.
Yeah, of course, IPG4ARC coming in, and well, Agent got his helmet lit up. It's pretty much dead. It's pretty much not there, to be honest. And that's the thing with the level 1 helmet and vest. It's kind of like a consolation.
It's
we
a
don't
delicacy.
we don't offer you anything. We don't offer you any kind of protection, but you might as well just wear it because you have nothing else. I mean, the pretty standard choice has been
You do not get one shot though.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
I mean, if it's still a bolt action, you're going down to that one shot.
Yeah.
And, the thing with those level 1 vests is that they do not really have a lot of spacing to, give you that extra armor protection. It's kind of opened up. So there are very slim chances that those shots connect to your vest and you get that armor reduction proc coming up.
It's better than nothing though.
But look at the zone shift.
Oh my god, it's not going to be military based, and of course a lot of teams have been saved in the process as well. Now, ALxK9, they were one of the teams that were looking in the worst possible situation in those early circles, but now as the circle shift is favoring them, I feel like they have one of the best positions going up ahead. But now take a look at Blood Legion as well, right in the center of the circle. Of course, this is where all these players thrive in the situations like this, and they all just keep on spraying with those M4 and 6x sprays, and we have seen Gyro and Dominic just just mow the lawn over.
I mean, of course, you give them the circle, what else could they ask for?
Yeah.
They're just going to turn everybody into dead men once, they cross roads with them. But with that being said, a lot of teams are trying to rotate around. Of course, the northern side is still up for grabs. If you can get that, you're good to go. But look at Ryan just spraying across towards the players of A1 Esports 952, who are really having a tough time rotating around, as Magneto somehow managing to dodge those flurry of bullets. And Ryan could not really...
He might get caught.
He might.
No, barely making it out.
Barely making it out. But look at the spread. I like this. But at the same time, you need to make sure that if someone gets charged over, you can provide that cover fire from the far off ray that you are in. Now, A1 Esports 952, they've decided to, kind of stick together. So playing the old school PUBG Mobile, let's see how that works out for this team.
I mean, of course, a questionable position, but as we take a look over here, XCvS seems like they are going inside an early fight against Max, and which team is going to be coming out on top? It's going to be interesting to see. Max seems like they have already been crumbling down onto their knees, because we saw it's just one of their teammates just getting absolutely blasted off inside the waterways, and he didn't really have any other choices than to just die, because there was just 2 teams looking at him straight away, which is going to be 8 men just focusing on you, complete tunnel visioning on you, and all he can do at that point is just accept your defeat and just go down. And that's exactly what happened with Max as well. But now seems like Max is going to be struggling so hard in those late circles. This is where you need all of your teammates alive if you want to actually get that chicken dinner. But sometimes there are situations where that one man can just prone around and just try to get those at least top 3 situations, and then in the late circles when they are fighting each other, he can just third party and try to get the chicken dinner entirely in his hand. But it's going to be a hard process as we take a look inside the circle. Now, XCvS also has one of the best positions going in. Blood Legion is trying to contest the zone as well. They are trying to catch anyone off guard who is trying to make the rotations. But now take a look at MK14 over here, the gun with 2 faces. This is going to be interesting to see which team is going to be capitalizing over here. Now, this compound over here is, of course, one of the most strongest compound to hold, but is not going to be favoring inside the circle.
I mean, the shift that you can see suddenly going and favoring the players of A1 Esports 952. Now, even the players of XCVSE, they had a good position, but they realized that the next shift might just not be with them. So they might not be in contention for the circle. So it's better to make that early rotation in. Now, Casper, the only last surviving member of Team Max. We gotta talk about this. Now, this is where the lack of preparation really comes in. You know that you've got to make that quick rotation. You dropped off around Milta Power and still did not rotate in time.
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness! Exentric Infinity, they are gonna punish you if you are in the open with your vehicles damaged as such. But somehow we can see Chiku really making it in close, but they've already lost out on Rolex, so that's a huge bummer.
Indeed, of course, losing a player in this late game is going to be such a massive bummer. But as we take a look over here, Chiku seems like he's going to be popping a first aid, but also getting contested by another squad that is right in front of him. It's going to be Wolves.
You know, see, Team Wolves, they're still in the in the far fray. They're still traversing around. They might as well get those compounds just below the ridge that we know of. Now, SharpX, in fact, he's going after the players of Log 1 right now. And another player goes down, and the players of God's Reborn, they're also taking quite some beating over there. But Chiku, he's holding on to himself. He knows that he's alone in this fight. He's got no cover to play around with. And now, Blood Legion, just before the circle, they were in the best possible position. But look at Chiku and Shuvasa going head-to-head against each other. Who gets that first knock? You're going to see that, and that's Chiku going down. And well, Exentric Infinity just deleting him from the server.
Indeed, the seamless aggression coming in through, and it's going to be favoring them as well. Now, Chiku has went down and completely eliminated off the game. Log 1 still is barely alive on their knees, though. They might actually clutch it out as well. We have seen them clutching it out in some past scenarios as well, but is it going to be possible this time? As we take a look, ALxGR Koa seems like he's going to be getting one knockdown, and already he's using those utilities to get the finish in as well. But now beautiful utility uses as well. Now going to be capitalizing on the knockdown player's position. But just take a look at this massive grenade, completely decimating him.
Oh my goodness, Gayer, what a beautiful nade from this beautiful man. INES now showing themselves, proving why they are, worthy of that invited slot. But hold on, Roja, this is a battle of grenades going on. And right now we can see the players of INES finally deciding to push. Now, players over there of God's Reborn, they're trying to get those res on, at least onto which gentlemen are trying to have every possible member standing. But who is going to come out on top in this battle?
Indeed, INES definitely has a lot much more potential inside this fight, as we might just see SLX going down if they just keep on playing the way they are playing right now, because they're just sitting inside the compounds. They're not really peeking outside. They're not really trying to get any kind of knocks. But if we take a look, another fight is erupting over here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, IPG4R, they're having quite some trouble over there trying to rotate around. But what we need to focus is the players of INES, who have kind of started pushing onto its Squad's Reborn. They know that the numbers are in their favor. The cross angle is definitely not there. One of their players has already been spotted, so they are going to just march in. But look at ALxK9. They managed to pick off the other guy. And now, with that being said, INES, that they are actually pushing on towards the last surviving member. That's Roger. How long is he going to do it, though? He's just taking a lot of shots over there, and Gajor making no mistakes, and God's Reborn, the second team to get eliminated from the lobby.
Indeed, INES losing one man in the process, but of course that's worth it when you're going to be getting those 4 points in your hands and eliminating completely them out of just, the lobby. It's just an absolute beautiful stuff to watch coming in, and just the way they were so aggressive inside the houses. They were not scared to just push inside. But of course, as we were talking about some mistakes coming in as well, when they were trying to hold, he didn't really hold the staircase. As we were talking about, of course, holding the staircase is a little bit harder. The pre-fires do come in, but now I'm going to hold on to my thought. If we take a look, Wolves seems like they are in a massive trouble. They have already 2 players there going down, and another one goes down, which is going to be Rafi, also getting flanked or third party by C-Vine over here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, Team Wolves had to leave their own old sweet cover that they had developed for themselves. Now, they're in a fight against KSX with all these 2 players are out. It all comes down to Agent as to how he's going to keep his team alive in situations as such. Mehraz, he was trying to provide that very essential information. I think he's He's done a good job as Agent gets taken down, and well, we see yet another squad being wiped out. But INES's Ali Whitey, he's absolutely on a domination spree, and so is Gyro.
Indeed, Gyro, as we all know, one of the most strongest member Blood Legion has to offer. And as we take a look, of course, Wolves, we saw in the past, they get eliminated. Such a massive turn of events coming in for them. Now, SLX, ironic, also getting eliminated in the process as well. Now, IPG4 Venom seems like he does have Infernal, Parasite. So many big names are getting eliminated over here, Fixes. And of course, these are one of the teams that we wanted to like succeeding in those late circles. But see, it doesn't really seem like they're going to be able to. Of course, I had so much hopes coming in from Wolves as well. But now just take a look at just beautiful nades placement. INES is going to be struggling so much because they do not have the high ground advantage. And Blood Legion certainly having the high ground. But also just take a look at over here. Leo going down. And even Ryan going down. Blood Legion is crumbling apart. They are having a hard time contesting INES because they are getting even shots by some of the other angles as well.
Yeah, even Salu, he is trying to, you know, go in, but at the same time, he knows that if he steps out in the open, he might be in a whole world of trouble. Those flurry of grenades just barraging through, damaging the players of Blood Legion one after the other. But Gyro, he is the front-line assaulter over there. He's trying to keep things off at bay, but for how long can they do that? They need to get those res back on. Dominic entering inside the vehicle. Of course, they've lost out on Leo, as it seems, but right now, Blood Legion, oh my goodness, they're taking so much damage. But it's Gyro again coming into rescue for his team as he takes one down.
Gyro just so seamless. Just look at the precision this man is offering with that M43X, and just the way this man is just spraying each and every single rotation inside the circle is just an absolute fascinating thing to watch. But now take a look at INES as well. They have smoked out completely themselves, but Dominic has also went down in the process. Now, Blood Legion does need to stick that res, and as I am talking about, Ryan is going to be doing the same thing. Blood Legion trying their best to flush anyone out of this, out of the position that is in front of them. It's going to be INES, but doesn't really seem like INES is scared of the situation because they do have their utilities favoring them, and the smoke is definitely going to be providing them that little bit of cover. But as we take a look, Plus seems like it's going to be aggressing right onto Blood Legion, not going to be able to connect any of the shots. Blood Legion seem like they are crumbling down, going to be losing one of the players in the process as well. But now take a look at Gyro. Gyro also going down in the process, getting caught off guard. Ryan, it's all down to Ryan. Is he going to be able to clutch the situation out as we talk about Ryan gets shot from the back lines?
Oh my goodness, look at INES. I mean, the kind of an aggression that we are getting to see right from the first game itself. They are looking fearless, they're looking so dominant, but how are they gonna get inside the circle? That's the bigger question, because now they have been spotted. Exentric Infinity, of course, having such a good spot, having the highest probabilities in winning, and Witcher just mowing down every single player from the vehicle that he has. This is where consistency really kicks in. Casper also getting taken out. Oh my goodness, Witcher already sitting at 4 kills.
Now just take a look. INERTIA Esports also getting eliminated in the process, and even Max getting eliminated as well. We did see Max struggling apart in the first zone, but now just take a look at EC also. Redul already going down in the process. Beautiful nade coming in. Going to be dealing so much damage to EC, which is going to be Exentric. But now, see, it doesn't really seem like XCVS is going to be stopping. Demon just completely barraging the nades onto them. So many nades are being used in the process of taking EC down. Already, they are down on 2 members, but another one comes in. This man just seemed to have like infinite amount of nades. Well, as we talk, Log1 Esports also has been eliminated on the 4th position, but this is what I'm talking about. But from Log1, the consistency is coming in as well. Getting eliminated on the 4th position, even when you are getting compromised in those early circles, is just a really good thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, now this is where the consistency of XCVSE really comes into picture. I mean, look at the positioning. They are across everywhere. They've got visions. They know where the players of Exentric are, and a few good grenades. And this is the first game has been all about those good grenades coming out. Now the players of A1 Esports have revealed their position through that smoke. They've been mowed down. This is stat 1 player surviving. Now 3 teams in contention. Who is gonna walk off with the chicken over here?
Indeed, it's going to be a massive fight coming in between EC and even XCVS because they have all 4 of their teammates alive, but also in the process, there is one more guy from A1. He is just all by himself alive, a solo player, as we were talking about. He can just keep on proning inside the smoke, but now, just take a look. He also has been completely eliminated, taken out, and there goes A1 Esports 1952 completely outside the game. But now, just take a look at the fight erupting between XCVS and even EC over here. XCVS seems to have like infinite amount of nades. Just to look at how many nades do these guys have? Just take a look at the amount of utilities these guys have.
Oh my goodness, you know, it's going to be a really tough situation for the players of Exentric to really clutch it around, but that was a good counter grenade going out from Riedel. Gets that one knock, but that's not going to deter Demon from making that push right onto his faces. Riddle has been spotted. His flashes are visible from the gun, and there you go, Sherry getting the final nail in the coffin, and the first winner chicken dinner, of course, going to the players of XCvse. I mean, you've got to give it to these lads. The way these boys have been playing, you know, 13 kills, and it all came down to how well they positioned themselves in those final fights.
Indeed, Demon certainly proving himself that he is the Grim Reaper of the map and just taking everyone down. Just the way, like, how many nades these guys had there. Like, I feel like they just used infinite amount of nades. They were just pulling out nade, throwing it, pulling out nade, throwing it. I lost the count how many nades these guys used.
Ran out of it.
Yeah, they never ran out. Even in the end, they still have 1 or 2 nades to their name. I'm like, what? How many nades do these guys have? They literally seemed like they had an airstrike on them.
I mean, to be honest, even the players from Exentric Infinity performed quite well. It all came down to C1's positioning, because the position that he had on the far off ray was really good. But the worst part was he was spotted. And once he was knocked, the boys, you know, they knew that, okay, so we have to deal with one of the players from A1 Esports 952. We've done that. Now, we know where the other 3 are. We just have to lob those beautiful grenades into thin air, and one of them might definitely connect. And just to courtesy of that, they did manage to get the chicken because they had enough room. They had those players. So that's where the numbers advantage come out for. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at who the MVP was in this particular game. And again, Mamba. Well, this is one of the teams that got eliminated pretty early on.
It still seems
I'm
like
being
they were being... yeah, I'm also actually quite surprised by the MVP here because I certainly didn't expect ERZxTRZ to actually come up with so many frags for themselves. But as we were talking about Mamba, certainly I was talking about this player in the past as well. Like, this man is just so dominating, and now I feel like this man has actually left the support role, and it seems like he is actually just fragging out for his team. He's actually the main fragger coming in for ERZxTRZ.
Come on, considering the stats that we've seen from this lad, you know, being one of the highest skill fraggers over here, and he was playing pretty well. And I think he's one of those players that you know, a lot of different big organizations might have their eyes on, because he's been consistent with in terms of his skill potential. But you know, a lot of mistakes were also made from the boys from Blood Legion. I mean, Gyro making that unwanted push, and he had for a moment spotted, but then he tried to reposition him. That's where he got taken down. Had he been getting a knock or two, that might have just pushed away the players of INES. But nothing taken away from INES. The kind of sheer aggression that they showed, especially Salu and Gajon, getting those Grens off in the first few fights that they took. They did manage to wipe out that one squad. Then moving along further, you know, Blood Legion's also having such a good position, but still somehow failing because they were spotted from elsewhere. But now let's take a look at the top 5 players in the lobby and see for ourselves who they are.
Indeed, it's going to be Demon. As I was saying, that man was just a Grim Reaper there. Just take a look at how much damage this man dealt. 969 damage, but now Gyro also in the process, as I was talking about, he was just a complete lawnmower. He was just mowing anyone down. Those were...
Alright, so now, you know, moving on. Top players, we did get to see the players of XCvS and of course Blood Legion stepping up, and Blood Legion taking quite an early exit in terms of what we expect. We always expect them to be in those top 5 positions, but I think these skills that they have garnered for themselves is certainly going to help them.
Indeed, they might help them, but one thing I was really I'm still surprised
I'm still
about
searching
is
for Mamba though. You know?
Yeah, me too. That's what I was literally about to say. One thing I was surprised was the Mamba, and it doesn't really seem like he is anywhere in the top players.
And you know, moving on forward, because from what I really saw, ERZxTRZ did have quite an early elimination out there, but it was still the boys from XCvS, you know, doing majority of the job. The way they were kind of spread out throughout, and I think in those final circle, it all came down to these two lads, right? These two teams, right? So, of course, like we mentioned, C1 having a different position. Had he been alive, the moment, you know, the players would have pushed the lads from XCvS, he could have done at least 1 or 2 kills. He would have gotten 1 or 2 knocks, and that could have been it. But this game, ladies and gentlemen, was all about those beautiful Grens going up in the air and blasting people off. So let's take a look at the match summary and see, you know, how things did turn out.
Indeed, as we were talking about, the nades were just completely barraging it through. And if we take a look at the highest kill, Witcher seems like he's going to be catching the lead over here. And then Sketch with the longest distance kill. Not really much of the satisfying longest distance kill. But as I was talking about, Demon, he was just barraging the nades through onto the last squad, which is XCvS. Now, they were definitely like a little bit struggling in the end phases, but XCvS just seemed like they were just had infinite amount of nades, and like even Demon was the one who was just unloading the barrage down, and then when the other teammates came in, it just seemed like they just called a complete airstrike on them.
Yeah, I mean, it was completely, you had those raining fragrance going out in the air, and it was like an artificial red circle, to be honest. The red zone that builds up.
Yeah.
Well, we do not have that in competitive arena, but that still exists in PUBG Mobile, and it's horrendous. I've been out so many times. I was just traveling or cruising with my vehicle, and suddenly I get popped off just from the red zone. So this was one of those red zones that were built by the players of XCvS. And the same could be said for the boys from INES. The kind of an aggression that they were showing, those trends being used perfectly. And now let's take a look at the match rankings and see how things have really, turned out after the first game.
Of course, one thing we really forgot to mention over here, that A1 Esports 952, they were just struggling so much in those early circles, but then they still had one of their men alive to the end circles, and he actually managed to secure that top 3 position for them. Now, those points are definitely going to be helping them to build the momentum in the next maps as well, because as we were talking about, the next map is going to be Sanhok.
Yeah, of course. And, taking a look at Blood Legion, 7 points. But one thing is really good that I would like to bring into the attention of our viewers is that Max, considering the fall they had in those early games, 3 players being taken out, I mean, Casper did pretty good, decent job at surviving till the end, and somehow managed to get those top spots. But of course, ERZxTRZ not really having the time of the day in the first game, perhaps, have kind of placed in the bottom position. But now let's take a look at the beautiful Opa moments that we got to see in this match. And not started off from over here, Team Max completely
2 players
beating the
getting
dark.
eliminated off early. It's just such a massive disappointment coming in through. But there's also the situation over here that Chico was put in was just so unfortunate for him, because they just got completely off guard. They thought the compound in front of them might just be completely free and they will be able to contest it, but there was a team already inside it, and then they just got completely off guard inside their vehicle. But also over here, just take a look at how many nades were also being thrown in the process from Blood Legion.
This is where Gyro made those
this
mistakes.
is where a massive mistake did come in through, because he actually thought he's not going to get spotted inside the smoke, but it was already too late to move inside. He should have actually made that move way before than thinking. The way, when he actually managed to get inside the smoke, it was already too late. He was already being spotted by the members of INES, and then he was just completely obliterated by them, whereas we saw all three of them just charging onto him.
I think the troubles, the wars really started when they got knocked from elsewhere, right? It was, I guess, the boys from IPG4ARC doing the damage, and that's where INES just read on the kill board. Oh, so Blood Legion has got one of their players knocked out. Let's go after him. Even Dominic, trying to get those rays onto his teammate, he had also taken quite a lot of damage, so giving them enough room. But because if you talk about the fight where Blood Legion and we have INES in contention, INES were in a tougher spot. They were on the downhill ridges, and Blood Legion early on threw a few grenades, but that went miles off. Had those grenades connected, that could have been a totally different story.
But the massive issue over here, even if the Blood Legion was on top, they had the high ground, also at the same time, when you're having the high ground, you're exposed.
Exactly.
You're also exposed to so many teams, and this is exactly what happened. Dominic getting spotted, also getting taken down when the fight was actually erupting, and this is when INES actually capitalized on Blood Legion, and this is when they actually made the aggression coming through, and that's when Gyro just completely fall alone.
That is certainly going to reflect on our damage graph that we have for you guys this time around, and you can see those massive big numbers coming in from the boys from XCvS. Of course, take a look at Blood Legion and INES. They're not
same,
far behind, almost
equalized.
It's just those extra 3 kills that INES, of course, got out of Blood Legion. Like you mentioned, it was kind of really crucial, a few mistakes like we were talking about. Blood Legion should have actually smoked their left-hand side and their right-hand side and engaged, had that tunnel vision to really focus on the fight in hand that they had against INES. So they missed a few grenades. And, one of those things, a lot of teams kind of go for those long toss, but they kind of forget those low toss grenades. And this is where I really felt that the low toss grenades could have really worked out in their favor had they done that. a few Molotovs also, because we did not see a lot of mollies
Yeah,
going
yeah,
out. So
this is
it
what
was
I was-
all
yeah.
grenades going out. So, a few mistakes here and there, and they had to pay a hefty price. And right from the start, 28 points for XCVS. So this is really huge, as they will be moving with their hearts pumping and with those blood coming out from the first chicken dinner. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading for a short little break, because coming right after is the map from Sanhok. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021, the Bangladesh region, of course, sponsored by Oppo Reno 5. As we were having a light chatter during which team might just clutch this one out. So we've got some quite interesting pointers over here, and we talk about Sanhok, a map that we do not know as to how it is going to turn out to be. So your prediction, sir?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like INES might just take it. Just the way they were playing, just the way they were actually playing, I was actually so surprised. Like, I'm actually a fan of them as well, but also at the same time, I cannot leave my bay, which is going to be Blood Legion as well.
So you're kind of confused with your heart and mind, right?
Yeah,
your heart says it's
Blood
going to be
Legion.
Blood Legion,
Yeah.
but your mind says that it's going to be INES this time, as to the aggression that they've been displaying so far. And of course, I mean, I finally got to see the reminiscence of the old INES when we had Capshi, Machine, and all these players. So I think this is that INES that we have been looking out for. But we might be stepping up too much because it's still the first game. We are yet to see more out of them, because the kind of a gameplay that Gayor and Salu Whitey have been getting into the kind of a punch that they've been getting into the roster, that's really good to say. But I'm still searching for the circle to be forming across. And
Oh my God, that's so unfortunate. Only 60% of land is being covered by the circle.
that is how it is. A1 Esports 952, of course, one of those teams at a very, very good position. But I like what XCVS are doing. Now it's a certain northern circle, so they can make that sly rotation across the shores towards that compound that we have in contention. But those bridge areas are going to be really important today.
Indeed. Now, how these guys are going to be making the rotation is going to be a massive point for us. But now just take a look at over here. It seems like KS and IPG, or IPG4, might just have a early fight rolling in through.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that battle, breaking off almost around Painan, I think they would try to avoid that. But at the same time, I believe the players over here of IPG, they have a good position over there, because say whatever it may be, ALxK need to get inside the circle. Now we have to decide as to which route they're really opting out for. But before that, we have got Reborn going against IPG for ARC, and Gentleman has taken quite some beating out there, surviving with just 20% HP, has nothing to heal himself up. As we can see, now the push is already there, and anyone can really come out of top. It's Dadaloff that gets the final bullet over there. Gentleman, he's a dead man. So again, a huge loss to God's Reborn. Not the kind of start that they would have wanted for themselves.
Indeed, an unfortunate start coming in for God Reborn, and of course IPG4 is going to be the one capitalizing on one of their players. But now, of course, God's Reborns were not expecting anyone to actually drop on that compound, because it's just like a no man's compound out of nowhere, and just
Wasn't that man?
yeah, it was like, why would anyone expect someone to be there? But IPG4 seemed like they were actually going to be holding that compound, and just an unfortunate turn of events, as we would like to say, coming in there for God's Reborn. But I'm pretty sure they still have one of these solid players for them still alive in the game, and anything might happen, right? But just that early damage where they actually got damaged off was just an unfortunate turn of events. But now, one thing is definitely going to be interesting to see how INES and Wolves are going to be making the rotation inside the circle. And even if we talk about ERZxTRZ and ALxK9, basically all these teams that are on the bottom side of the circle, they are the most furthest away. And when they're going to be trying to make the rotation inside the circle, there is a massive chance that they might just get caught in those rotation. And we all know how hard it is to get the rotation inside the circle, like just freely overall.
Now a lot of teams, in the last game, it was so crucial that you needed to get the best spot for yourself in those final circles, with the way, the circle is taking those curveballs. I mean, these teams are really wary now. They understand that they have to be prepared for the worst possible situation, and the best way to do that is to try to have those quick rotations going in. You need to have your zone predictions on point, because for a moment, when the circle took a shift, Blood Legion, they were in the best spot. the next moment, it was the boys from Exentric who were in the best spot. But who did come out as the victors? It was XCvse, relying purely on their positioning during those fights. They executed it so well. So that's going to be really important as to how they are going to, get on with this, with their quick rotations. But considering how the circle has formed, like you mentioned, almost 60% in, being in the water. So it's somehow going to tend to shift around towards the northern area. So now this is where teams like, we've got INES, XCvse, and even Blood Legion having a good spot, because Blood Legion, they did drop off at Paradise. Now they are going to have a good route. But the ones outside the circle, that's where the trouble begins.
I mean, yeah, indeed, INES has been caught outside the circle as well. But now, as I was talking about, it's going to be interesting to see. And as you said, of course, making those early rotations might favor. But I feel like when it comes to specifically Sanhok, even if you're trying to make those early rotation inside the circle, it's going to be massive trouble, because I feel like in Sanhok, like each and every single compound, there is a person. You have to expect a person inside each and every single compound, no matter what. But I'm going to hold on to my thought and let's just focus on the situation that is going on in front of us. Seems like God Reborn is actually getting challenged by ALxK9 over here. But are they going to be able to? Are they going to be challenging the fight against each other? This is going to be interesting to see, because God Reborn only has one player on the complete coast that is in front of ALxK9. And are they going to be spotting Koa though? This is going to be interesting to see, because ALxK9, of course, has that firepower going inside this fight. And seems like Dragon is going to be completely changing, going to be giving a complete surprise to Koa over here with the positioning that he is offering. And just take a look at this. Seems like Koa is actually very aware of the situation or the position that Dragon is in, and he's going to be capitalizing, he's going to be taking a lot of shots. And as we talk about this, Dragon is actually going down, falling down, and of course the zone damage and plus the tick damage, down tick damage, is also going to be dealing so much damage to him. And now ALxK9 also needs to hurry if they actually want to get the resin onto Dragon over here.
Take a look at him. He's got 10 first aids, bro.
He can just stay over here for a while.
At least for next two circles, he can be there.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he needs to also get the rotation inside the circle if he actually wants to play for the late game as well. But, I mean, the thing that ALxK9 is doing here is actually pretty questionable, because I feel like no matter how early you are going to be trying to rotate onto Dragon, the res is definitely not going to be possible. As we take a look, ALxGR already has the rest of their members coming in through for the backup as well. Now, ALxK9 definitely should back off as fast as they can, because we all know ALxGR, which is going to be God's Reborn, they have such a massive firepower going inside this fight, because they all are well looted, well geared up. And now, if ALxK9 wants to challenge this fight, they will have to hit some insane headshots.
I mean, right now, both these teams can't really afford to take their fights, because, again, look at the circle. Every spot that could have been taken has already been taken.
Koa.
Now, Koa, he's got the beating. He's got those 10 first aids. But, yeah, he was way off from where he should have been. He should have changed his position right when he got the first knock. And provided the circumstances that their teammates did chime in to help him out, that should have been an easy escape. But he did not do that. He kind of stuck onto it, and one mistake leads to another, and that's how the cookie crumbled. For God's Reborn having two of their players being knocked out from the early game, and now look at Koa. He's just trying to get into cover right in front of his enemies over there, and has paid a hefty price for that. But at the same time, has kind of revealed Yashiro's position, and I'm really interested and rather keen to see if Roger's position has been compromised or not.
I mean, yeah, of course, at that point, he was like, you know what, I'm going to be dying anyway, so I might just take the chance that is in front of me and try to rotate to my teammates. And just like, if he's lucky enough, he might, the enemy might not just be looking at him, but of course, they are going to be looking at him. But yeah, of course, it's just better to take those chances that are occurring in front of you than to just die off not doing anything, which I respect him a lot for. Koa going down as well. Now, ALxGR also in a little bit of trouble. Equal equal fight coming in through. But what is going on? These guys are just outside the circle all the time. They are taking damage, and the tick damage is also going to be increasing slowly on steadily as well. But now it seems like Sadman is going to be making a really brilliant decision to actually move inside the circle and keep one of their members outside just to pin complete squad of SLXGR. And I feel like SLX God Reborn should actually capitalize on what is actually happening in front of them and how they are getting pinned down by one member of AGXT9, and they should actually start moving inside the circle. One thing AGXT9 definitely has realized is that if that member managed to kill both of these out, these are going to be free 3 points for them.
Yeah, 100%. Now, AGT9, at the same time, they're wasting so much time. Look at the distance that they need to travel. It's 1,500 meters. I mean, that's going to be so tricky considering that you have to move so far. And already the second circle has started kicking off. You do not have a lot of meds to play with. The moment you enter, or the moment you manage to enter somehow inside the circle, you might get caught off guard. Now, talking about teams getting caught off guard, we've got INES and Wolves that might, engage in a fight over there.
Exactly, they might just be ramming into each other while they're trying to make those rotations inside the circle, and it seems like certainly it's going to be happening. One of the Wolves members already went down and completely finished. What is going on over here? Wolves, one of the big teams, already crumbling down from INES, and this team definitely has so much more potential as well, but INES seems to be denying completely Wolves' potential out here because INES just has so much more talent going in for them as well. Just the way experience these guys have and just how much games these guys have played in the past, it's just showing up right now. The way these guys are capitalizing on each and every single fight these guys are taking, it doesn't really seem like they're taking any amount of damage in the kills they're getting. They're not getting damaged at all. And if we take a look at Wolves, are already one man down and they have 3 players alive. Yeah, of course, Wolves definitely do not want to challenge the fight that they have been put into, so they're going to be making a little bit long rotation as well. But now just take a look at XP Blood Legion as well. Now they seem like they do have their eyes on the log one there. Right in front of them, they do have the compound secured, but as we take a look, beautiful spray coming in from Leo, going to be catching one of the log one members off guard.
Yeah, I mean, Blood Legion finally having some respite, getting off with 1 kill. That's a good thing. And Log One not really, in the happiest of situations, already losing out on one of their members, and in such a manner, that's a shame. But the second airdrop coming in, and look at the players that have gotten their hands over it. It's XCvS. And we were talking about them, right? We were talking about them. The winners of the first chicken dinner, they've started off 28 points already in their bag. They're looking so promising, and I think they would want to even increase their lead by the matches that have come. So 1 chicken dinner is always helpful for them, but what they always eye out for is those consistent position points, and that has been, been making them the most consistent team this time during the PMCO regional finals. In fact, in the group stages that we had, and are even stronger competitor in the regional finals. Now, this is where I was really, kind of willy-nilly about INES, because they've not played the PMCO group stages. We did see so many teams popping off. That's when I was really scared as to how these lads are going to perform. And finally, I think I think I've gotten my answers. The way these guys are doing right now, they're looking really confident. They're looking really neat in their fights, and those new players that they've got in, they're stepping up. They're firing on all cylinders. I think this is a good INES that we are looking at.
Indeed, now it seems like IPGX is also pinned down by one of the squads that is at top of the hill, which is going to be ALxIR. They seem like they're going to be taking a little bit of damage in the process while they are trying to take a look onto B1 here. But it's not going to. B1 seems like he's in a complete healthy state, but also at the same time, yeah, his HP is down a little bit, but those boosters are coming in through to help him in the process as well. But now, ALxIR doesn't really seem like they want to challenge the fight directly going into it, because B1 has that luxurious weapon in his hand, which is definitely going to be providing him so much more accuracy when he's getting those long-range sprays in with the 6X.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is where AUG really shines, right? You've got that mid to long range engagements. You do not need that extra attack stock that you need, and so you're good to go. You're good to play with that. But I'm really skeptic about that scooter that he's riding through.
Trying to get it up top the hill.
He's trying so hard. You need to go in. He's full accelerator, and still nothing happening. You should realize by now it's a bummer.
Yeah, that is certainly not going to be happening. The engine power is just not enough to actually carry his weight forward. But now, if we take a look at the fight that is actually in front of over here, Exentric seems like they are going up against A1. But which team is going to be coming on top? Now, Exentric certainly has like a complete triangle in front of them, which is going to be A1, and then there is one more team on their left side as well. But now, seems like IPG4 has already gotten one of the ALxK9 members in his sights.
Yeah, of course. You know, now IPG4R, this is a team, you know, that also made it in those end days inside those regional finals. Now, we've got the players of ALxK9, another consistent team that we've been kind of missing out on. So, but not really having the start that they would have anticipated. And of course, their players going down one after the other. And this gives enough room for the players of IPG4R to make it inside the circle. Now, we've got to see if they're taking the waterways, and by the looks of it, indeed they are going for that. Because of course, they do realize that someone, or in fact, a lot of the teams might have gotten their eyes onto the bridge, but still, they're making those bold moves out. We've got to see how it really pans out for this team, and look at Merciless as he was, of course, mercilessly taken down.
Indeed, I mean, of course, that was going to be happening because he was running in open ground, completely open ground, not even contesting, not even trying to contest any kind of compounds in front of them. And ALxK9 certainly paying the price for that. As we take a look, there's only Captain and his teammate alive now. How are they going to be capitalizing on the situation that they are put into? Because their enemy definitely has such a massive high ground advantage going forward, which is going to be XCvS. Now, Jerry, definitely one of the most frag-intensive player that they have to offer over here, and especially if you're getting aimed down by Jerry, you are in a big trouble. You might as well realize that now. The only thing ALxK9 can actually do is try to hit some decent shot onto Jerry here, but doesn't really seem like that's going to be happening anytime soon. Jerry with a massive knockdown on the Captain. Now there's only one more teammate surviving for ALxK9. Are they going to be able to do anything in situations like this? Because Jerry, this is where Jerry actually thrives. This is where Jerry is such a demon in situations like this, because he's not going to be having any kind of mercy onto ALxK9, because the only thing he sees in front of his eyes is that chicken dinner and are those 3 points that are going to be securing, that his team is going to be securing anytime soon. But just take a look at how well and precise this man is. But seems like he is certainly getting away, and seems like Tesla has barely gotten away, and he is just so lucky that he was not spotted by Jerry.
I mean, he's got to thank his stars, because ALxK9 could not have really afforded that early exit again in this in the second map.
Aggression.
Yeah. Now XCvS. Now they've gotten themselves inside the circle and they were in a good position. Now ERZxTRZ also starting off really well, getting that first pick, and have spotted down the players of Team Wolves. Now they would want to get a good spot inside the circle and maybe then try to, you know, just edge camp their opponents over there, what we call as skating. So Atomic having the vector. We've seen, you know, teams like BTR really capitalizing on it. And right now, we've got the players from KS who have already, one of their players has been taken down as this fight has begun.
Indeed, as this fight has begun, as we take a look at the situation that is erupting in front of them, ERZxTRZ definitely one of the teams everyone need to watch out for, but at the same time, they seem like they are also getting franked by the Wolves member that is in front of them, but ERZxTRZ going to be completely wiping out the existence of KSX.
I mean, that was a shame. That was a shame, to be honest, the way KSX really took that fight. Look at Sanhok. Where was he even positioned at? He was so much in the open, and he was just like, you know, a standing chicken for the players of ERZxTRZ. Again, Mamba coming out on top, getting those beautiful 2 knocks right in the start, breaking this fight right up open. But how is Agent going to make it inside the circle? He's definitely committed for those smokes. But with the players of Max looming over him, and with the way these
Zone
players
is also doing so much damage.
It's a 5th circle.
Yep, the Zone is doing way too much damage, and Asian could certainly not afford getting damaged anytime soon. As I was talking about, of course, he has been contested by those enemy bullets, and certainly is going to be taken down instantly by Casper. Now Casper trying to finish the kill as well, trying to secure those points for himself, and seems like certainly that is going to be coming in through, as the Zone is going to be finishing the kill for him. But now take a look at Max also. Omar seems like he is going to be just proning inside the grass, and if we take a look at Ironclad, one of the most most skill-favored player that Max has to offer. We have seen this man just absolutely pop off in so many situations, and Ironclad is definitely one of the best players that they have to offer. But now there are so many fights erupting in front of us. Now, seems like Magneto is just absolutely popping off in those late situations as well. But just take a look at what is going on over here with IPGX. Now, there is one of the Dragon is right in front of him, and seems like he did spot him off guard. So he actually wanted to get on the Ridge and just try to get an easy kill on the Dragon, but the Ridge just wasn't enough because the Ridge was completely covering his vision and blocking his vision. But now Casper in a really unfortunate situation, completely in the open ground. And how is he going to be getting out of that situation? As we talk about, Wolves has been completely eliminated as well.
Yeah, I mean, now this is the fight that we've been all looking out for. Blood Legion going against XCBS. Now, already Fime has been down. He's been back up. And Demon, along with Jerry, they might just commit for the push.
Oh my God.
Taban, look at him.
Oh my God.
Any single moment.
Oh my God.
B1 might just step out. And, well, might surprise him from the backlines. But is he wary of his position, though? Somehow, the 6th circle is going to take off. Oh! He is still alive. The one has already been taken out by Magneto. So, A1 Esports 952 might think that that area is safe for them, but it is not. But now, moving along, we've got Cairo. He knows that he's been kind of surrounded by the enemies. How is he going to deal with the situation, though?
Gyro, yeah, there is Fahim right in front of him, but how is Gyro? We already know this man, no matter what kind of situation is, Gyro always has the potential to actually come out on top. But just take a look, he is getting congested and pushed by the enemy squad. While we take a look at XCBS, Fahim also taking so much damage in the process as well. While Blood Legion is also in the same page. Blood Legion already has lost one of their members, but now XCBS does have the complete force going up for them. And seems like XCBS is gonna get completely wiped out by Blood Legion, even though they had that man advantage going up for them.
Of course, it was the compound advantage that helped the boys over there. And right now, moving along, we've got the players of INES dishing out so much damage onto its the players of Exentric Infinity over there. Clutch definitely has lost on his life. There's no chance on earth that he can survive. Just passing on all those first aids towards his last final surviving teammate. That's Salu, who will try to get those remainder position spots that they can. They've got 4 kills. If they make it to the top 5, that's good enough for them to move on with. But the players of Exentric Infinity, somehow, they're still inside the circle. Ooh, beautiful knock.
Oh my God.
Second
oh my
knock
God.
coming out. Can he get the third? Can he get the squad wipe? As again, he tries to pop in that first aid. Now, this is complete chaos. This is complete mayhem. But look at Blood Legion. They are still kicking. They're still alive. But Gyro is taking some heavy, heavy damage. And just when we were talking about them, they also get wiped out.
Salu trying to break through the cage over here because he is being completely pinned down by Sivan as well. Now, definitely breaking through the cage is definitely going to be so hard because Salu is just taking so much zone damage, but in the process as well, he has 5 first aids going up for him. Yeah, he cannot be affording so much damage in the process, but now if we take a look, Exentric also has been completely wiped. But now, Salu, how are you going to be surviving for so long because you are completely losing your meds in the situation like this as well? I feel like at this point, he should actually try to get inside the circle because it's not really far away. It's right in front of him. He can just step outside, but also Log1 does have their eyes on him. And now A1 seems like they are in the same position as they were previously. They only have one of their men alive. And I mean, yeah, like if he is lucky enough, of course, he might like secure those you know, position points. And as we talk about that, A1 Esports 1952 has been eliminated as well. Certainly not able to secure a lot much more survival points for himself. And INES Salu taking so much damage in the rotation process as well, but LOG1 gonna be hiding behind the rocks. Doesn't really seem like they're gonna be trying to capitalize on Salu's position anymore.
Wow, this man is a mean monster. Wiping out the existence of Exentric Infinity all by himself. Now, he's been spotted out, but he's done his job. He's justified why he's still alive, made his team get that second spot, get that 12 points, and also the kills. He's an absolute genius. Of course, he will be going down Log1, getting that chicken. But wow. You've got to give it to the boys from INES. What a relentless performance. The way they played that one out. Of course, Log1 really coming out on top in this one, getting those 6 kills. And, you know, they kind of respected the circle. They were in a really good position to engage in every single fight. But I can't still get over by the genius display of, you know, skills by Salu. The way he went after one of the players of Exentric one by one. He's healing, he's shooting. He's healing, he's shooting. He's taking one down, popping a first aid. And I mean, C-Wine, where was he even looking at? He was not even concerned about Salu, and the next moment he's just dead, right in the open. And well, INES, they're performing really well. A1xTRZ, they're also consistent right now, getting those top 3 positions. And what could have been a top 8 exit for INES, they managed to get into top 2, and I'm pretty sure, considering the kills that they've got, I think they might be contesting for the first position. But yeah, nothing really taken away from Log1, getting the chicken like we mentioned. The position, they had the circle favoring them. It was an easy job.
Exactly, just the overall performance LOG1 has been offering the entire game was just absolutely relentless, because the position that they had, as you were saying, they definitely respected. But one thing I would want to point out over here from INES is that if he actually would have popped that first hit in when C-Vine was completely dished out, and if he would have actually made that rotation inside the circle early off, I feel like he should have still gotten a little bit of meds going onto his side, and when he was actually taking a damage in the rotation process, he could have just prone down as he did, and he was safe for a little while. He could have popped that first hit, get his HP up, and he could have still like got at least a little bit more chance in actually coming out on top in that fight.
You know, he could have done that, but then again, in situations like that, when everything is against you, you know, you could have ended up at, you know, the 8th position where you would have just got 1 position point, but managing to get that 2nd spot, getting those 12 points, that's sweet. He's done enough, and I think he couldn't have done better. But let's take a look at the MVP, because for me, it's going to be, of course, Salu. But this time around, it's Magneto coming out from A1xTRZ 952, getting those 4 kills, 533 damage, 21 minutes of survival time. He's really doing good, and this team has been consistent throughout. This is what A1 952 really needed to have their blood going out. So even again, we have to come down to yet another fight that we need to talk about: the big guns, Blood Legion versus XCvs. I mean, at a point where XCvs are completely surrounded Blood Legion, but it completely ended in a different manner.
Exactly, just the way Blood Legion actually peeks is just so well. Like, one guy will peek from the window, then the other guy will just completely rush outside from the door. And of course, when a guy peeks from the window, the entire team is actually focused on the window, and you're not really pointing your guns at the guy on the door. And this is exactly what happened. And also, you know, just the way these guys are actually communicating into themselves is just an absolute fascinating thing, and just so inspiring to watch.
Exactly. I mean, the way these guys have been popping off, and I think we are going to have a really, really beautiful finals this time around. And as we take a look at the top players that we have for ourselves, that's of course going to be Magneto, followed by Sabik from Log1, and of course C1 getting those 4 kills. And I'm still missing out on my boy over there, Salu. The way he got those kills into those end circles, I think he did so much over there. It all came down. I thought for a moment that he'd just be going in for those healing battles, but he eliminated the threat right, you know, ahead of him. He got those kills, and you know, a lot of teams, a lot of players did perform really well, but everyone was kind of overshadowed with what we really saw from INES. And 2 back-to-back consistent performance, 2 back-to-back amazing plays is certainly gonna help them in the overall rankings once they do come up. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's head on to the match summary and see how the numbers work.
Indeed, but if we were focusing on the Shallow for a little bit while, now what I wanted to point out there was, of course, yeah, he did completely wipe out the Exentric squad there, but one thing definitely might not be going into his favor was those damage numbers, because Exentric was so damaged as well in the start off, so all he had to do for those 3 players to knock them out was just do a little bit of damage to them, and they were already going down. So this is why I feel like he's not in those top 4 players.
Yeah.
But now, if we take a look at the match summary, of course, Lockwood, Sabik is going to be in there, because just the way Lockwood was overall playing and the way they got the chicken dinner is just so good. And Stranger, of course, going to be there from IPG4 ARC as well. Jerry, how this man is just so good, I wonder myself sometimes, because this man is just so, like, overall, like, consistent. If we take a look at Blood Legion Gyro, of course, like, sometimes they're not really able to show up, right?
Yeah.
But Jerry is just always on those leaderboards. Like, his name is just, like, right now, his name is just always in my head, just going around. And I even still remember the clutch that he did on the day 3rd of PMCO. He was the last man alive, and he had Heaven going up against his opponent. And he still managed to actually clutch the entire situation out and get the chicken dinner for himself.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's how beautiful a player Cherry is. But now, let's take a look at the match ranking. Of course, XCVS not really having the kind of an outing that they would have really anticipated, but still managing those 5 points for themselves. But look at INES. Those 5 kills that they got, and of course, second position, which could have been way off. Did manage to get them 17 points. I think, yeah, like you mentioned, clearly in terms of numbers, in terms of data, in terms of analysis, in terms of pure numbers crunching, he was not there. But for what he did for his team and under what circumstances, I think he deserves that MVP spot out there. But nothing taken away again from the players of A1 Esports, 9 and 52. The way these lads played out, Magneto again being one of those players that we can always rely on. And Blood Legion, perfectly explained, because Blood Legion has always been that team that completely goes in heavy. But if they kind of lose out on numbers, if they are in certain precarious situations, they kind of tend to falter really easily, which is not the case with XCVS. And I was even surprised, how quickly XCVS, of course, got eliminated. I really thought that the way they've surrounded, I think they could have gone for a few grenades, trying to flush their enemies out and take those fights on. But talking about, disappointments over here, we've got KSX taking a very early exit, and the same can be said for ALxK9.
I mean, yeah, ALxK9, yeah, of course, like, such a massive disappointment coming in through just in those early off as well. But Max Esports also isn't really showing up. We have so many expectations going in forward from Max Esports because they do have so much frag potential and just so much firepower going in as well. But it doesn't really seem like they are able to show themselves. Ironclad, you need to step up, bro, because I absolutely love Ironclad. Like the
Along
way,
with King.
Yup, it's just the way, like, so much this man has, like, performance, just how well this man is performing. At this point, I would actually even call him Iron Man if he just keeps his performance going up while in the future as well.
So this is where it all comes down. You've got that ironclad armor going off for you, but you're not Iron Man yet. Because
Iron Man, yeah. You still have to put on the mask.
Yeah, you still have to put on the mask. You need to fire those missiles right from your hands. But yeah, getting back to Max, so there was just this one day that they really popped off heavy. They got something around 70 points in just a single day. The day before that, they were doing pretty bad. But after that, they recovered. Then again, they sort of fizzled out. And somehow, it just gets you to one day they qualified, they solidified their position. But we've not been getting to see from them a lot. But now let's take a look at the damage histogram and see how things have really turned out in terms of damage numbers, because quite some interesting damages here and there. So now let's take a look at, of course, our damage graph, like we mentioned. And as things go on, it will be, of course, popping off on our screens. And yeah,
well,
there you go.
Legion's having the most damage in the game. And overall, just take a look at the overall situations that has been happening over here. Of course, so many teams, as we were talking about, ALxK9 not really stepping up in the game as well, but also a little bit of damage in the favor. But those kills is what we actually need to put yourself and get those points in for yourself. But now, also SLX, ironic, one of the teams that we have been seeing playing just so consistently in the overall, in the previous and in the past. It doesn't really seem like they're able to show off anything this time, though.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of numbers, it's Blood Legion that are doing really well. So I think they're getting those damage up. They're getting those numbers up and going for them. But now, as we venture into the Oppo moments to see how beautiful this map of Sanhok was, because right off the bat, we were really taken off guard with how the circle really went on. But then a lot of teams kind of delayed it, and they could not really get in. Yeah, I mean, this was against the players of Log 1. But still, after that one knock, they were kind of relentless. They were kind of clung on to the compound that they were holding on to, and they did. So this is what I was talking about. ERZxTRZ, the way they wiped out KSX, I mean, that was not expected from them. You're an experienced team. How can you be out so much out in the open?
I mean, sometimes, yeah, the situations do not favor you as well. When you're trying to make those rotations, yeah, sometimes you might get caught off guard. But at the same time, you do have those utilities going in. But this is the clutch exactly that you wanted to see and you liked coming in from over here. But, of course, Salu was trying his best to actually survive. And in the end, he just didn't have any kind of first aids going up for him or any med kits. Or just overall, the med situation was looking so bad for that man. And he just went down. I feel like in that situation, he should have kept at least one first aid for himself. Because he had like 8 first hits going in, and then he just kept on popping those first hits over and over again to survive outside the zone. Yeah, of course, it does make sense, but he should have rotated and like capitalized early on and just tried to rotate inside the circle early on.
Yeah, he certainly should have done that. And you know, now this is the moment we've been waiting for, the overall ranking, ladies and gentlemen, because this is what defines how these teams have been playing. And XCvS
still on the top,
yeah,
on the top, baby. They are still the king of the hill as we talk about this, but Exentric Esports seems like they are going to be following their footsteps right behind them. Log1 freezing the 3rd spot for them as well, but A1 isn't really far behind. They are still right there, and of course INERTIA, one of the invited teams, is still showing up so strong. Now, one thing I have my frozen eyes on is going to be Blood Legions and as well Max. Now, how are these guys going to be performing? It's just I just want to see how these guys are going to be putting on those unique strategies on the board, and just overall how these guys are going to be, you know, performing well.
Between the 1st position and the 5th position, we've just got 4 points of difference. So this is how intense things are going out. And then, of course, Blood Legion comes in with 19 points. But one thing for sure, Log1 is really putting up those position point numbers. So that's a really good thing. But as we move along, ERZxTRZ finally, you know, managing to redeem themselves a bit, you know, getting a few squad wipes, but they can certainly do better. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading out for a short little break, because coming right up next is the beautiful map of Miramar. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021, the Bangladesh region, of course, sponsored to you by Oppo Reno 5. As we had finally done with our 2 games that we had, and now we are venturing into Miramar. Now, XCvS, they're doing really solid, and we've got also the players of Exentric Infinity performing so well. And Log1 Esports, again, the surprising X-Factor team, you know, they were struggling during those group stages, but they finally have figured out how to deal with this current meta, you know, getting those position points and a few kills to back them up. They're doing performing really well, and that's the kind of a start that they needed. But now moving on into Miramar, what do you think, which team is going to come out on top?
I mean, it's going to be hard to say but one team that I've been seeing really popping off in Miramar is, of course, going to be Blood Legion. But now we do have INES in the process as well. Now, how are they going to be playing? And one thing I really want to watch, and one thing I'm like really wondering in my mind is INES going up against Blood Legion just head to head. How like what kind of a clash is it's going to be between these two teams, because they certainly are so aggressive, and like especially when they're going up against like these two teams. Imagine going so aggressive against each other and the fight these guys are going to be taking, just the way these guys are going to capitalizing on the situation and putting themselves in the spot to actually be comfortable. It's just going to be interesting to see, and a lot of people might just note some points down while the fight is going on as well.
Yeah, of course. And now, we'll definitely carry forward the conversation. But let's take a look at the flight path trajectory that we have in front of us right now. It's heading all the way from Torre Moda towards Los Leones. But what we are really interested in is the circle. Of course, like you said, we would always want to see INES and Blood Legion locking horns with each other. And it has happened in the past. Not under circumstances that we would have wanted to see, though, because it was some squads, really third-partying Blood Legion. And, of course, INES just making the final push and winning it off. But what I really want to see is a fair 4v4 fight. And right off the bat, two teams already engaging against each other in the upper northern areas.
Indeed. I mean, which team is going to be coming out on top? Of course, the early fight are going to be doing so much damage. Like either any of the teams, if they're going to be going down, the damage will be dealt a really massive way. And how these guys are going to be capitalizing in the late circles, of course, is going to be interesting to see, because right now it's so early. I feel like one of the teams might as well just back off while we take a look at the people of ALxGR and IPG4 ARC as well. And I feel like one of the teams might just capitalize on each other's position, and I feel like one team should actually make the call of just backing out, because it's still early game and you can't actually go to any other compound and start looting as well, because just looting a city is just not important, because you might just go to any other compound and start looting as well. But ALxGR is certainly not the team that would actually run away from a fight, so I don't really expect ALxGR to actually back out from the fight. It seems like they're going to be doing the exact same thing as I was talking about. They're going to be keeping themselves in a really comfortable spot, as they are going to be capitalizing on the positions. Also, the enemy team doesn't really seem like they are going to be backing off anytime soon as well. But now it's ironic, one of the teams that need to step their gameplay up. What unique strategies are they going to be coming up on top in Miramar is going to be interesting to see as well, while we take a look at Sketch taking that early damage in the process as well. But now take a look at Wolves also. There are complete team of Blood Legion in front of him, and Arceus certainly does not want to be in the position that he is in right now, but seems like he's going to be catching one of the players off guard. Blood Legion already has the flank going up for them. It seems like Dominic is going to be doing up the job for him, and he's just going to be taking him down. Just take a look at the way this man just completely capitalized on the fight over here. He took the car right on top of the hill, realizing that there is someone right near him, and he completely just flanked him off guard.
Again, it's kind of really, interesting to see Blood Legion getting those early action for themselves. But moving along with the discussion that we were really having, it's Miramar at the end of the day. It's a long, vast map in which you could get to have those, areas that you can really take. You've got those early vehicles. Rotations are going to be really quick. But, I really wanted these teams to understand the fact that, IPG4 ARC, they haven't got a lot of compounds to play with. They've got a few ones. They've not gotten the best of the loot. But against the players of God's Reborn, who've kind of had the entirety of Torre Moda over there, but still have not really managed to spread out. So that's a mistake being made from both these teams out there. And there you go, Roger getting that opening frag. This opens up a lot of things. Now they are going to commit with the push. The backup, the cavalry is definitely there for IPG4 ARC, but it all comes down to Danilov. So this is a kind of a rivalry that has been sparking between those two teams, because Danilov was the first man to take down Gentleman in the game of Sanhok.
Indeed, yeah, of course the rivalry is going to be showing up as we see just got Reborn just charging it through on the members of IPG4. Of course, that frag was so essential. The early elimination that came in from IPG4 ARC was just an absolute disappointment, because that gave so much room for God's Reborn to actually move forward, and even Gentleman has been completely taken down in the process as well. Now, how IPG4 ARC are going to be capitalizing on the entire situation is going to be interesting to see, and seems like Stranger and Dictator are just going to be backing off, and this is exactly what I was talking about. If they did the same thing early off and not try to challenge the fight, they would have had all 4 of their teammates alive. But one thing Venom made a mistake over here was he took too long. He was, okay, if you want to actually cook a nade, what you can do is just stand next to the window, cook your nade, and then at the last second peek out and then throw. What Venom did there, he was completely peeking out all the time while his head was completely exposed, and the enemy team just capitalized onto him, and all they did was just shoot his head twice and he went down. Now these kind of small mistakes, now enemy team, like any kind of teams actually need to capitalize on these kind of small mistakes and need to work around and just need to overall repolish their playstyle.
Yeah, they certainly have to. You know, those small little mistakes, I think it's the pressure, really speaking. Because under favorable circumstances, under good days, they would not really make such small tiny mistakes. And now this is where it comes down. This is the champion's mentality, where you need to get past your fears and try to go in for those plays, try to go in for those pushes. And that's what God's Reborn tried to do. And they got majority of it. They managed to get those 2 frags. They managed to fend off IPG4ARC. So we've seen that rivalry building up between these 2 teams. I do not know how it's going to end out though, but this time around, at least in Miramar, I think God's Reborn have done a fairly good job at that. But next map of Erangel, anything can possibly happen. But moving along, we've got the players of Max over here at, I believe, Puerto Paraiso. Now, in the circle that we have in hand, Chumacera is definitely going to be one of those regions that needs to get heavily contested because of that high ground advantage that you get. Even those on those lower side of things, you get those covers coming out from those buildings that you have, a lot of room to play around. But considering how the flight path trajectory was, a lot of teams could not make it so far. But I think I would want to see some early rotations coming out from these lads to, trying to get that high ground advantage for them. Have one of their players maybe on the low ground. But that completely depends on how you want to approach things. If you want more control down below, it's fine to have a flanker over there.
No.
But he's not going to help you during the fights up top. So you've got to figure out all those things. And whatever favors you, you need to go for that.
Indeed, of course, whatever favors you should actually take those opportunities in your hand and just work around it. But now XCVS also, one thing I really want to see is like, okay, these guys are actually making the rotation inside the circle and they are getting a lot of vehicles in the process as well. But are they going to get caught off guard once they actually enter inside the circle? Now, we are seeing God's Reborn as well, just, taking those vehicles in their hand, contesting those vehicles. Even Log1, even IPG4ARC, they only have 2 of their members alive and both of them are going to be in separate vehicles. But now, if IPG4R keep on moving in the same path as they are, they might get contested by Exentric or either Max. Now, yeah, of course, Exentric is one of the teams that is really lethal in positions like these, and you definitely do not want to hand yourself over to them because you only have 2 members alive, right? Not much more firepower coming in from your team, and especially Exentric, where like, this team is just so strong. You do not want to give yourself, you do not want to hand yourself over to them, and that would be like the biggest mistake that would come through. And it seems like LOG1 is going to be doing the same exact thing, and yeah, they are moving closer and closer to Exentric, but are they going to be moving close enough though? But now take a look at the top side of the map as well. Wolves seem like they might be in a troublesome situation as well, while there is ALxK9 right in front of them as well. Now, how are they going to be playing it around? Because SLXGR is moving right behind them as well. If they decide to just completely go head-to-head against Wolves, it's just going to be an absolute cluster mayhem.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's going to spell so much trouble for these lads. But, again, getting back towards the team that we have in contention over here. So, KSAX, this is a team that did hold on towards the center spot, and now the second circle is going to form. So we're going to have a good idea as to where these teams might just be heading on towards in the next circle. So Exentric Infinity, again, one of those teams that we really need to watch out for, because the way they've started, they're looking really promising, at least in terms of their kills, at least in terms of their positioning during the fights. And of course, it could be a lot better for all these teams, making small mistakes and being heavily punished for that. As we finally see, the first circle kind of heading down south towards Los Leones. Now, you've got a compound on towards the northwestern side in Los Leones, a building rather. That's like the hospital. You need to make that. It's really difficult to push on if you're in that building. So, if some team gets their hands over that compound, I think they're good to go in this kind of circle. You get that high ground advantage. Teams can't really push you. Teams can't really nade you easily. But we can see finally Mahfouz. Now this is a team that if you remember, in a Miramar game, when they had an Eastern Los Leones circle, those mountain coverage areas, Mahfouz was so deadly. They got something around 18 to 19 kills in that game. But look at deploys from Blood Legion. They are right out going after another team. That's ALxK over here. And Sakil, he is holding on by himself. Can he come on top on this one?
Indeed, Sakil right behind the wall, barely getting covered by it as well. But also at the same time, seems like he is going to be using those utilities. And one nade also comes in from Blood Legion as well, but not going to be dealing enough damage to Sakil in the process. But seems like Blood Legion have contested that entire house for themselves. And now it's just going to be a waiting game as long as I can guess. Because as long as these guys wait, of course they're going to be securing those position points as well. But in the process, seems like Ryan almost get caught while he was trying to waltz inside the window, but it doesn't really seem like it's going to be doing enough damage to Ryan, and he certainly is completely safe now. The complete Blood Legion squad is safe, but the main man Gyro has been knocked out. How is Blood Legion going to be capitalizing onto that situation and trying to get the res onto him? If they actually want to save Gyro here, they will have to completely commit towards the fight and try to end the fight as fast as they can. But seems like Gyro is doing a 200 IQ play here. Gyro, even though he's knocked, he is still going to be deciding to actually get that extra information for his team.
Yeah, he certainly will. And right now, I think they're going after Miraz, trying to get that res on. But with the XCBS in the far-off fray, they're peppering down a few bullets. And it might just be seconds before they get yet another knock. But 6x69 getting that beautiful, beautiful kill confirmed onto its Thunder as Exentric Infinity find themselves in a whole world of trouble.
Indeed, they are going to be fighting themselves in the whole world of trouble, but now Blood Legion is short to only 3 men. How are they going to be capitalizing on the fight where there is all for the men alive for KS, but also at the same time seems like their position is getting compromised from the hilltop. They are taking a lethal amount of damage as well, but now SLXGR spotting Shuos, making a rotation inside the buggy. Shuos are taking a little bit of lethal damage, but at the same time, he is going to be finding that ridge for himself, which is going to be providing him a little bit of cover. Not going to be giving him the best of the cover that has to offer. But yeah, of course, now Sketch, one of the most star players coming in for SLXIR. How are they going to be playing this entire situation out? It's going to be interesting to see. Execute69 not really going to be aggressive because seems like Execute is more kind of like the support player. He doesn't really want to be too aggressive, but Execute, if he decides to actually peek out, he might just get completely melted.
Yeah, of course. Now, if you take a look at Shuvo, well, he's trying to traverse around, but before that, we've got to find the Medsas, and that's the boys from KSX that are taking some heavy beating. And Sakil, he also goes down as well. Now it's all upon Ehsan as 3 players mercilessly charge at him, and of course will eliminate him. And with that, this is the Blood Legion we are talking about, the ruthless aggression, the cold-blooded murderers doing their job. And now I think they will be trying to get an even better spot inside the circle. But elsewhere, we can see God's Reborn, they're making their rotation from up top, but we have SLX Ironic that are going inside the circle from right below. But look at Log 1's position. Again, a very promising one. But still, the compound that I was talking about hasn't been contested. Maybe Log 1 trying to make those movements. They might want to get their hands over there. In fact, on that particular compound. But we have the second airdrop coming in, and that's the AUG.
Indeed, the unfortunate positioning for the airdrop coming in as well. It's going to be so hard to reach out onto that airdrop. But now it seems like Exentric certainly is going to be in a really massive world trouble because he has been caught off guard. Shuoser is trying his best to actually flush the enemy out with his nade. But now just take a look at Blood Legions. The way these guys are challenging each and every single fight is just so interesting to watch. And Dominic Bot seems like he is going to be aggressing through and going to be trying to finish the kill that has been taken down by his teammate. Now, seems like Blood Legion is just absolutely popping off this times because they have already secured so many kills for themselves.
Yeah, 5 big number. But, on the downside of things, they've lost out on Gyro. So that's going to be a bummer for them in those final few circles. But that is where Dominic really needs to, go ham after all these teams. So they've managed to be, surviving on those edges of the circle. It's still the 3rd zone, that's kind of popping off. Now, it'll take some time for it to really close out, and we'll get a better idea as to where the circle is ending. But for right now, let's just assume it's going to go towards Los Leones. And now, once it goes over there, it completely comes down to the fact that which team has the better spot, which team has the better compound, which team has the better building, which team has the better cover. Because then a lot of trends are going to be absolutely essential, as we see the players of ALxK9 are almost colliding over there. with another team. But right now, ALxK9, they've got their eyes onto its Blood Legion. I think it's going to be a really tough escape scenario if they decide to just press on them, keep them, kind of block them off their rotation path. So that's not going to happen because they're the ones who are on behind. If they're on the tail of things, well, let's see how things go out.
Indeed. It's going to be interesting to see how they are going to be going off. But here comes Agent, going to be securing the swagger for himself, as I like to call Mirado, the swag vehicle. Of course, Mirado might just get busted off if everyone from each and every single team just decide to focus on your car and just start shooting and completely mowing it down. But as we were talking about, ALxK9 certainly pinning down the entire squad of Blood Legion. But of course, the way ALxK9 has been performing in the past games as well, seems like there are higher chance of Blood Legion actually capitalizing on their position as well and just coming out on top and overall. But take a look at the circle shift. All the teams inside Los Leones seem like they are going to be colliding against each other because there are 15 teams alive. And now just take a look at the kill feed as well. Sketch seems like he's going to be taking one knockout onto Max, one of the players of Max. But there as we talk about the M249, the lawnmower is inside the game as well. Now which team is going to be contesting that drop is going to be interesting to see. 15 teams alive in such a late circle. It's going to be an absolute chaos as we take a look at Casper barely trying to survive as long as he can, smoking himself out, while Max seems like they are in a world of trouble because some of the players from Max have been taken down from SLX Ironic.
See, now this is where the players of XCVS really come out on top because they've got that compound that I was talking about. You get that high ground advantage. Now they've applied a lot of pressure onto the players of God's Reborn, but Marshall taking some heavy beating as ALxK9 are right on top of them. Now Marshall will definitely heal himself up. And after that, what does he decide to do? As we can see, Sincere, putting down a few shots with his SLR. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of SLRs this time around in this tournament, and in fact, not a lot of DMRs in play as well.
Indeed, we haven't been seeing SLRs as well. But just overall, Max King with a beautiful nade. What a beautiful, well-placed nade as we talk about. But XCVS, one of the teams that is really strong. Now, Fahim has already been knocked out, barely trying to crawl outside the situation that he's been put into. But XCVS, are they going to be trying to save their teammate? It doesn't really seem like they are going to be risking their lives in the process. And it seems like XCVS is going to be eventually taking the more safer route, which is going to be just securing that ridge for themselves. And Witcher seems like he does want to go for the safe onto Fahim there, and it seems like that is exactly going to be happening. The smokes are coming in through for the res, but are they going to be able to take the res while we take a look at the situation that is occurring in front of them? And Ironclad, he is trying his best to actually force anyone out of that situation, but Ironclad certainly is also going to be favoring his positioning well over the situation that is going up in front of him because, of course, those positioning points, we all know how important they can be in certain times as well. But just take a look at Log 1. They are on such high top over there, and of course, they just have a better position.
Yeah, they certainly do, but it comes at a price because the way this circle has been panning out, it might not just end on them. And the moment they decide to move, I believe a few teams would take a dig at them. So they've been spotted, that's for sure, by the boys from XCVS. Now, losing out on Jerry, that was something that did not really anticipate. But Dominic also going out, could see to those vehicle explosions over there. Ryan, of course, getting those trade-offs. But how is Blood Legion going to survive this one? I mean, again, it's INES versus it's against Blood Legion, but right now what we have in front of us is Team Max going after XCVS, taking down two of their players. Then a bit of a pickle over there trying to engage. Now they'll get that good sweet loot. They've got that mini working out in their favor. We've seen a lot of minis, however, not a lot of SKS or SLR in this game, but now ALxK9, so they've got a lot of enemies around them, and we just have to see how they approach all these fights.
I mean, it's going to be harder for them to actually approach all these fights. Even if they try to, they might just get caught off guard. But just take a look at INES and Blood Legion as well. They are right next to each other, but are they going to capitalizing on each other's position, though? This is what is really interesting to see. And Blood Legion seems to, they are already struggling. They are already struggling. Blood Legion has already went down -2. They are only having 2 players alive onto the board they have to offer. But of course, yeah, they still have Dominic to offer. Dominic can just make impossible things happen happen possible. It's going to be interesting to see how they are going to be playing as well. But now, overall situation over here, there are just so many teams. If we take a look at the numbers, it's going to be 15 teams, 45 people alive in those small circles, and they are just colliding into each other while the fights are happening over and over again. And there are just so many fights happening in the process. Each and every team has to go for the positioning points, but not everyone is going to be securing that top 3 position.
Yeah, I mean, it's not possible for everybody, like you know, so rightfully pointed out. But SLX Ironic, you know, taking their hands onto it, the players of A1 1952, and already taking Magneto out of the equation in that one. Cynthia peppering down a few bullets onto it, the players of IPGX, of course, and oh, it's going to be INES, pardon me, over there. Gajor being in a whole world of trouble, but it's C minor, still continuing with that killing spree that he has developed for himself. And A1 1952, they're doing so very well during those regional finals. And how are they going to continue doing that? We gotta see for ourselves. But within that, Wolves Black Diamond, they've again been eliminated, as now we've got Shade trying to make a push onto the players of Log1. Now, Log1, this is where the trouble really begins for them. And Exentric going after ERZxTRZ. So many squads locking horns with each other, but it's going to be merciless trying to engage against 2 different teams at the same time.
There are so many frags coming in the kill fit. It's actually hard to keep up with that. Mamba going down to the safe zone as well. What is going on over here? There are just so many fights happening in front of him. And as we take a look, ERZxTRZ also has been completely dished out from the equation, but now take a look at Log1 also suffering the cause. They are in a really open ground while they are getting capitalized from behind as well. Now, Lock Chico seems like he is in one of the most disadvantaged position that he can ever be placed inside, but seems like his teammate Sabik does actually want to go and give him some company, but in the process going to be taking so much damage and is going down as well. Now, now there are just so many teams around. It's going to be harder and harder for each and every single team to find that safer route or safer position. But just take a look at over here, SLXGR Yashiro. He is down to such low HP. Now SLX got Reborn as well. They are trying to capitalize on each and every single position. And as we talk about one of the big names going down, INERTIA Esports are going to be crumbling down on the 11th position. As we talk about Infernal, Parasite, GX also getting down, but they still have managed to secure those 5 kills. That is going to be helping them out a little bit in the leaderboards. But now take a look at Gentleman. He is trying his best to stay safe and just get a little bit of info for his team, but still the door is going to be open, so the info is not going to be flowing through. While we also take a look at the fight that is exactly happening in front of here, it's going to be SLXGR and ALxK9. Which team is going to be coming out on top? The way ALxK9 has been playing, it's harder for them to actually come out on top in situations like this. They will have to try to challenge the fight in some different ways. And yeah, just overall, they will have to try their best to just, come out on top in this situation. Of course, if they decide to push, I feel like at this point in time, it would actually be a really good decision, because overall, I feel like the enemy team, which is going to be SLXGR, they're actually spread out in compounds. And if they are going to be aggressing it through, the kills might just flow in. And as we talk about, seems like ALxK9 is not going to be able to execute the strat in the exact way they have thought. And they are going to be losing so many players in the process. Now it's all down to Captain. He's right behind the wall as well. Captain seems like he's just going to be running away. He does not really want to challenge the fight. He's the last man standing for his team. And seems like he does not want to challenge the fight. As we take a look, Gentleman going to be capitalizing on Captain's position, and he's going to be taking him down.
Yeah, he certainly will be, as things have started getting really intense. But Yashiro, he's surviving with the whiskers, just that one bandage to play around. But that's all that God's Reborn have to work around themselves. And well, Gentleman already taking some heavy beating. He's been knocked out. It's all going to come down to it. Yashiro and Koa somehow pull their team to a better position in terms of points. But Blood Legion's Leo, he's been spotted out in the far of Ray, gets taken down instantly, hammered. And Blood Legion also takes an early exit. This time, however, again with those 6 kills, that's the kind of predomination that we've been seeing these players going for. Now, AGT9 finally having a good game for themselves, as God's Reborn, they also bow out. And now it's just 5 teams that we have amongst us. But look at Demon, again, surviving for so long. He is not given away his position. He is inside that buggy, and nobody seems to be caring for him.
Exactly, indeed. I mean, in this late kind of situation, who would be like thinking, oh, someone is actually going to be sitting inside a buggy? And this is where he actually uses his brain. And Demons certainly proving that demons are the most sneakiest creatures on this planet. But we take a look at the fight that is erupting in front of him, and we take a look at ERZxTRZ. It's insane. It's just mowing anyone down that is coming in front of him, and it seems like the seamless aggression is actually going to be valuing them a lot much more. Now, just take a look at the precise tapping shots. The M44X shots are just coming in through from his end as well. This man is just an absolute blazer, as I would like to call. But just take a look at Demon also. This man is not getting spotted anytime soon, and they are going to be moving right next to him. And ALxK9 doesn't really seem to have any kind of clue on Demon's position. What is going on?
They've completely left him off. I mean, he's just right beside Sadman, and they don't seem to care. And he doesn't either. He's like, guys, do not look at me. Do not look over at the buggy.
God,
There's no one inside that. These are the moments, these are the moments that they, kind of tend to make the plays, the big plays over here. Now, if the players of ALxK9 somehow, go aggressive, do not pay attention to the buggy, then he can take down a few players from the back lines, at least 1 or 2 kills. But looking at it, look at Sandman, he does not care. He does not worry about them.
His hard scope.
Exactly. They've got all their attention onto the players of Log1 and Max over there.
Oh my god, but certainly if we take a look at Sadman, the way this man is playing, yeah, it is actually the way he's playing is really good. But there is a guy right next to you, Sadman. You need to focus up a little bit while Insane is also going to get knocked in the process. This is where Demon can really shine and show his true colors while we are waiting for Demon to pop out, and this is exactly what's going to happen. Demon, you absolute beast. He's going to be taking both of them down and also going to get behind the tree. You Demon, you are such a demon. You do not have any kind of mercy. While he was trying to apply the med onto his teammate, he was trying to get the res in, and Demon just found the right moment to strike, and he's going to be taking both of them down. Those are 2 easy points coming in for him.
Oh my goodness, what are we witnessing? This is pure madness coming out from all these players. And now, Log1, I must give it to these lads. They've been consistent across all the games that they've been playing. Again managing that top 5 position. Again, still in contention for the top 3 rather. But the numbers heavily favoring the boys from ALxK9. They've got their 2 players online. It's a 2v1v1 situation from what we can see so far. But Demon, he needs to get inside, and with 2 players already looking out at him, and they're pissed. They're angry. Any single moment, Demon, he can, get taken away. Now again, they got that knock over with Max. Yeah, now they managed to secure that top 3 position, which could have been way, way worse.
XCV is already getting the top 3 position while Demon was just having a good time inside the buggy, chilling out. But now Demon is also taking heavy damage, heavy beating inside the circle. But now take a look at Chico as well. He is outside the circle. If Chico decides to strike at any point in time, this might just go on. And as we take a look,
it's over.
ALxK9 is going to be taking the chicken dinner. The last 2 members of both of the teams are just going to be crumbling down to the zone. But that play coming in from Demon is an absolute memorable moment for me. I'm never going to be forgetting that play.
I mean, that's so good. He camouflaged himself right in the battle arena. Like, who would want to pay attention to a buggy? And he was not wearing any flashy outfit, so, there was no chance that anyone could really pay huge attention towards him. He was just praying. Guys, do not look at me. But it's the boys from ALxK9, of course, even after, having 2 of their players taken out of the equation. But yeah, again, XCVS continuing their consistent performance. And so same goes from Log1. Now, Log1 did have a choice. Chico, he was outside the zone when both the players of, ALxK9 were taking their, looking at, the last player of XCVS, that was Demon. So that is the time they could have really, popped off. That is the time where Chico could have at least tried to get a kill off, and things could have gone either ways. But now let's take a look at the MVP of this game, and has to be Insane. I mean, the chicken dinner winning team, they did fairly well.
Indeed, Insane just popping off in the end circle as I was just yelling at this man's just the way he was playing. But of course, Demon has struck my heart with an absolute massive lightning strike while he just completely obliterated those 2 players in front of him. He is merciless. He does not have any kind of mercy going up inside this game, and this is exactly what I like to see. You have to be as rude and as mean as possible when you're going inside games like these.
Imagine Sadmad's reaction over there, when suddenly someone comes out of the
back. What just happened?
Oh my god. What? Where was he all this time? But now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the top players in the lobby so far. And it was Insane, of course, backed up by Koa. We've got Dominic again making it in. But 6fly69. So he did manage to get that 1 kill. But look at the damage numbers.
Yeah. Just look at the damage, overall damage. I feel like I'm pretty sure at this point, like everyone in this map has just stole this man's kills.
Yeah, he must be feeling pretty angry on all the other players, and he will, of course, come in stronger. But you know, right from the start, we did see, you know, towards those mid-game areas where XCVS, they were reduced down, the numbers going out, but the Demon somehow still surviving as we head on towards the match summary and see how the numbers game, you know, worked out. So I must say, it was not a very huge high kill affair game for any individual team. The kills were kind of distributed throughout in the lobby.
The plays were just iconic that were made in that game, and as I was talking about, I'm never going to be forgetting, but just take a look at the match summary over here. Insane coming up with the highest kills, which are only going to be 4 kills. And then, of course, Sickfly with the sickest damage in the entire game over there, showing up with his true colors with 746 damage. But as we talked about, with only 1 kill, he is going to be so disappointed. If I was him at this point, I would be like, why is everyone stealing my kills?
I mean, he deserves at least 3 or 4 at the very least. So
I feel like he deserves at least 5 there.
I mean, that's the beauty of those circles coming back. You get the damage numbers, but in Miramar, you tend to have those ridges across which you can really play around. So that certainly did not go in his favor, as the other opponents kind of got those players back on. But now we'll be heading towards the match rankings and see which teams have performed how, in what manner. So ALxK9 ESPORTS with those 10 kills, 25 points. But, you know, looking at them, it's again the players from God's Reborn, of course, coming up with the 7 kills. That's the second highest number that we have. And despite the fact that they placed in the 5th position, they somehow still managed to get those 11 points.
Max Esports still certainly able to show their name up on the top 3 this time. They are able to just, you know, try to get in those points in just on the nick of the neck. They are trying their best to actually try to stay in those top 3 situations. But now, take a look at Log1 as well. This team has secured those massive 12 numbers for them. Now, Log1 is just being so consistent in each and every single map. They are able to secure those top 3 or top 4 positions. And as we talk about in Miramar, they were definitely able to secure that top 4 position. But Log1 definitely has that 3rd place for them in the entire overall leaderboard. But now, in the match ranking, ALxK9 were trying their best overall, but didn't really seem like they were on the top, because we saw in those end circles there were still 15 teams alive, and there were fights happening overall, like just everywhere. And if you take a look at the kill feed, there were kills just going off everywhere. The kill feed was just completely filled with kills just going all over the place. Some people are dying with those zone, some people are dying with those gunfires coming in, some people are getting off guard in those zone rotations, and just overall so many unlucky moments coming in.
Yeah, I mean, so many unlucky moments, but that's where we did get to witness some beautiful ones out of that. And we are going to take a look at the Oppo moments that we have for you guys. So I think if we talk about this match in a nutshell, this is where, you know, the big names kind of fell down, you know, with the likes of Exentric, ERZxTRZ. They're not having a good time at all today. You know, every single game, they're getting a few kills, but not in terms of positioning points. So this is what they've been knowing. This is what we know, you know, ERZxTRZ for. And having such a start, that's going to be so deadly, because it's already 3 maps gone. You just have 1 more remaining for the day. At least you need to have a chicken for yourself. The difference is not that huge, but Exentric Infinity, they cannot certainly want to have an early exit like that. I mean, they were doing so good. They were in the top 3. Now, the same can be said for, you know, the likes of even INES. Now, they needed a chicken dinner desperately, but they certainly did not get that. But this is the moment that we've been talking out for.
I am so traumatized by this play. Whenever this play just absolutely comes in my mind, there's just a smile on my face. Like, I just can't stop. I just cannot control my laugh when I just take a look at this. And I'm pretty sure even all the time when I'm going to be remembering this play, there's just going to be a smile displayed on my face as well all the time.
I mean, these are the moments we live for, right? I mean, such cheeky, sneaky plays. And the best part, he did not have any smoke to guard him off. He was just right out in the open. You know, that was the perfect disguise. That was the perfect magic trick that he could have pulled off for himself. And, of course, securing such good position points, as well as getting those 2 extra kills that he didn't manage to get. But now, let's take a look at the damage graph and see how things were in terms of numbers, in terms of statistics. So, SLX Ironic getting that very, very good position in terms of those damage. And, I mean, it was way off the roof. But could not really end up well as they would have thought. But it's still, you know, those 5 kills that really helped them in their purpose. But yeah, so this is a start of something good. You know, you can't expect to be doing well in so many games. Start off slow, and then you might possibly want to go big.
But one thing I'm really disappointed at taking a look at KSAC stats, though, they are not able to show in any of these games. It's like Ironics, they seem to like struggle a little bit, but at the same time, looking at their damage numbers also make me realize that, yeah, they are actually trying their best, and just overall, they are trying their best. But now, just take a look at the overall rankings. If we take a look, it's going to be XCVS, of course, freezing now top 1 spot for them with only 47 points, but Log1 Esports is not really far behind. They are on the second positions with only 42 points. They just need a little bit of points to actually go up against them. It's just going to be 5 points difference.
Look at the kills on them. I mean, just 7, but still, those 35 position points have kind of cemented their position in the top 3 right now. But Exentric Infinity, they've gone down a bit because, of course, they did not really have a good Miramar game. But INERTIA also taking a climb over there as the remainder of the teams went off really early on. But as we move along further, you know, A1 Esports 952 still in those top 5, top 6 contention. But what we really need to keep our eyes on is, you know, those top 3 positions, because only the top 3 teams, ladies and gentlemen, are going to qualify for the PUBG Mobile Pro League, where, you know, even the stakes are higher, teams are more competitive, you've got something different entirely going working along. But as we move along further, you know, ERZxTRZ not in the position that they would have really wanted themselves. And the same can be said for Infernal, Parasite, GX.
Indeed, the same can be said. But now, Wolves, one of the teams I have my eyes frozen onto them. I am focusing on Wolves. They're not really able to show up. And I have so many high expectations going in when it comes to Wolves, and especially having a player like Jigsaw. You are supposed to not be in the bottom well as well, because of course you can try to get those positioning points, like no matter if you're not able to come out on top in situations like those, you have to freeze those positioning points. But one thing I would again want to point out about Demon is, like, even in the first map of Erangel, that man was just barraging the nades onto enemy team, and now this time he is doing another funny moment, and overall this man is just a funny person.
I mean, he's been entertaining so far, but the entertainment will continue. And now we are moving for a short little break, because coming right after is the final game of Erangel. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the regional finals of the PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split 2021. The Bangladesh region, of course, sponsored to you by Oppo Reno 5. As we are seeing all these teams really popping off, a few surprising names, out of which, of course, we need to talk about Log1 as we head on into the final game. Just 7 kills, and in terms of position points, 35. That's a huge, massive number that they have gotten for themselves.
Indeed, and especially taking a look at the way they were playing in the past, they barely clutched their position inside the top 15 as well. And now just take a look at how consistent performance they're showing us. I did not expect Log1 to have so many strats up their sleeves. They are just able to pull off so many new strats all the time, and they're actually not getting caught in those early game rotations as well. But yeah, of course, in those late to mid games, their teammates are falling apart, but there's always that one man alive for them, which is just making the impossible happen possible.
Yeah, in fact, in the last game, it was Shiku really clutching it out. So I think they've kind of hacked into the zone meta right now. They figured out how to traverse around, how to, get inside those cheeky little spots, keep their team alive, because they know those position points are going to matter as we finally head on to the final game of today's evening. That's going to be, of course, played in Erangel. Quite a rather similar flight path, I must say, if not entirely, because the last one was kind of in a straight line going from Nova to Quarry, but this time it's kind of tilted, heading from Lipovka to Sosnovka, which makes things even worse for the teams, trying to go onto it. Maybe Giorgio, maybe Gatka, even Puchinki is still reachable, and I think ALxK9 is not going to have any trouble doing that. But I want to see if this time a few of the teams do actually drop off at the melee base.
Indeed. I mean, yeah, I feel like one of the teams should at least go for military base, because we have been taking a look at all these Erangel maps. And even in the past, there are not that many teams actually going up for the melee base. We have only seen one team going up for melee base, but then later on, there are not just any of the teams that want to contest melee base. But of course, yeah, there is one team always, all the time on Nova, no matter what kind of playing fly path it is. There will, of course, be one of the team always going to Nova. But as you said, it's going to be such a hard path for each and every single team to actually reach out for George Pull, or even overall just, Siverny or any of those places. But yeah, they will have to change their drop locations in the end time. As we take a look at SLX, SLXGR and ERZxTRZ, it seems like if they are heading towards Remorse, they are going to be having a fight occurring anytime soon. But just take a look at the circle shift. There are so many teams aiming for the outskirts of the circle, and indeed, when they are going to be trying to make the rotation inside the circle, they are going to be getting into fight. For example, if we take a look at Wolves, Max, Exentric and XCvS, and just overall so many teams that are outside the circle. If they want to actually make the rotations inside, I'm 101% sure that these guys are actually going to get caught off guard when they're trying to make those rotations.
See, I mean, in these kind of situations, I would love to see a quarry circle. And this is where teams like INES really shine. And the same can be said for A1 1952. Considering the position. Now, they play across the area, but right off the bat, we see the players of AGT9 again in a scuffle over here. They need to get those vehicles running for them, as all these teams want that, to get into their favorable drop locations. But engaging against the likes of Blood Legion, that's what I want to try to avoid right from the very start.
Indeed, that's what everyone would want to avoid, because you definitely do not want to go up against Blood Legion and catch that rivalry against them, because we know how strong of the entire Blood Legions is, and I'm pretty sure they do go to the gym every single day. But focusing on to the game over here, yeah, of course, Blood Legion are trying to show their best, but they aren't really able to show much today, though. Their colors or their stars haven't really been favoring them. They are either getting unlucky or they are just getting completely caught off guard early off, which is definitely going to be so unfortunate. But just take a look at SLXGR Yashiro. Does not want to go for the compound that is right in front of him. But seems like he is going to be trying to contest those vehicles. Going to be driving a little bit for a while around the compound. So what he did exactly there was he drove around the compound just to make sure the compound is actually clear. If the compound is not clear, of course, someone or the other enemy team will actually shoot at him. This is when you actually know that there is someone inside the compound, and this is when you actually decide to dip out. But now, take a look at SLXGR. The entire squad of them does not have any kind of loot. The only things these guys are doing is actually going for those vehicles. Yeah, of course, sometimes they are important, but you will have to loot in those early game phases. If you're not able to satisfy your stomach in those early game phases, you are going to get punished in those late games where you do need a lot much more utilities, even a lot much more ammo, and also at the same time a lot much more health going up for you, and just those HP and those first aids, you are going to be needing them in those late circles.
You certainly are. You certainly are. You know, considering how the circle is. Now, it's again going to be really important for all these teams to try and rotate early on. That's what they're trying to do. At least that's what Dream Wolves is trying to do. Because they are understanding, you know, the situation right now. Now, they cannot really mess up in the other games because they've had a very bad start. And they need to redeem themselves. They need to get those points for them. And one chicken dinner might just get them back into the race for the top 3 spots. Because that's what we're talking about. Of course, the first position getting a huge chunk of the money, $3,900 is what we are talking about. But along with that comes for a chance to contest for the PMPL slots. And of course, in the PMPL, things are going to get bigger. You've got even tougher teams to prove your mettle. It's going to be about, you know, the bragging rights. It's going to be about the glory. It's going to be about the chance to represent your nation. And every single esports player does have that dream, you know, someday I represent my country on those bigger stage and prove. It's not going to be more of those individual solo interests. It's going to be a team effort. It's going to be about those hopes, the aspirations of the entire nation backed up with you. So moving along further, now ALxK9, they've not kind of worried about the zone shift, which I think might just be a bit of trouble, because considering the fact that they are in Pochinki and the circle kind of swaying down onto the southwestern side, they should have started moving. They should have capitalized on the kind of an advantage they had. Now it's kind of going to get a bit late right now, to be honest, because majority of the teams have started already rotating in. So let's see how this team really comes out on in this particular map.
I mean, yeah, of course, it's going to be hard to see. And as you were talking about, each and every single competitive player does have that dream going up against for him to actually represent his country, which is actually so well said words coming in from Fixes. Of course, each and every single competitive player, if you are going to be playing the game competitive, you are going to be having that dream aspect coming inside you automatically, trying to represent your country in front of thousands of people, millions of people. And of course, if you are able to successfully do that, you are going to be bragging about it your entire life. And this is what you actually want to do. But yeah, the path to get there is not easy. It's filled with complete stick and stones. It's just filled with complete thorns. You will have to just, get across the entire situations that you are put up against. You will have to find a route away from that, and yeah, it's not overall situation you're going to be put up into is not going to be easy. But now focusing inside the game, if we take a look at Max, one of the teams that are struggling to keep their position up, or that are struggling to keep up the consistent performance, and even IronClad doesn't really seem like he is able to step up his gameplay as well. IronClad not really able to do much in the situations like this, but of course we saw this man just absolutely pop off ones, and he just made us all fans.
I mean, it was a 19 kill chicken dinner, and right from the very start, they just had 2 players surviving for them. It was King and of course IronClad, but it was just that one game. They completely went ham after every single team. But taking a look at the circle right now that we have in hand, we've got ALxK9 finally making their rotations in, but IPG4R already have secured themselves a good position. But I really like what God's Reborn are doing because of the position of where Koa is. And now even ERZxTRZ, that's a pretty intelligent approach, because you've got that one good hill over in that spot. You get a lot of information going on for you, and the rotation inside the circle will be fairly easy considering all the teams are right ahead. So they need to engage in those fights. Now if they kind of have that hilly area for themselves from over there, one of the players can definitely provide that support fire that you so very need. But look at all these teams all just colliding at one spot. Everyone trying to get the center, and everyone trying to hope that the final circle goes out on them. But what are we witnessing? XCvS in a bit of a pickle, as one of the players has already been knocked out.
Indeed, XCvS do not want to lose their players early off if they want to actually contest their late game positions. But now just take a look at how late rotations are coming in from SLXIR. Now there's the highest chance that these guys are actually going to get caught off guard while they're trying to rotate inside the circle. But if they're lucky enough, they might actually just make it in without any casualties. But just take a look at Exentric over there. Seems like they are going to be having one of their players in those right in front of them. But if SLXIR keeps on moving in the same direction that they are moving, they will have to go up against Exentric, but doesn't really seem like Exentric is having the time of their life. Already losing a player like C1 in the process, and Jerry is going to be coming out on top in the fight. Of course, Jerry, one of the strongest players that they have to offer, but XCVS, just, you know, overall is just a strong team, and Exentric definitely has a player like C1. C1 is not really a really aggressive player, as I would like to point it out, but yeah, of course, he does step in those crucial moments when you want him to. But just take a look at the beautiful placements coming in. There comes the knockdown as well. Now, Thunder is the only man alive over here for Exentric, but he is barely going to be surviving, but no. Sickfly says no, and he's going to be taking him down as well.
I mean, this is disastrous for Exentric. 2 back-to-back bad performance, and this is going to pull them down in terms of the overall standings that we had. Not the kind of an outing that they would have thought for themselves. But with that being said, you know, SLX ironic. These boys are finally starting to step up. These boys are finally committing in those fights. But, you know, everything comes with a price. They've managed to get those, you know, a few points coming up for themselves because Blood Legion, they also got one of their own kills from there. So now we've got to see as to, you know, how these players kind of get inside the circle. Because look at the shift, look at the splash of colors towards the southern side of Gatka. It's filled with teams, and everyone has sort of cemented a position. Now, INES does not have a lot of compounds to play along with. They can play along with the northern side. But if the circle shifts at them, if we get to see a curveball happening, in the meanwhile, we've got Blood Legion and Max might just get into a scuffle.
Indeed, but also in the meantime, if you take a look at the fights that will be happening outside the circle, of course, they are going to be doing the most casualties and the most harm to each or every of the team that decides to challenge the fight. It's going to be SLX and even it's going to be SLX and Max over there. But at the same time, just take a look at ERZxTRZ. Seems like they are trying their best to actually get that best possible spot going up for them. And seems like they are going to be capturing that like, you know, Corey spot on top of the hill. But now take a look at the luxurious weapon coming in through. It's going to be AUG with that 8x. What a juicy care package, if you like to call it. But of course, a lot much more players do actually prefer the M4 over AUG. But now, as I was talking about those late game circles that are coming inside the zone, it is only the second circle, so it's not going to be dishing out that much of the damage. So yeah, of course, you can't afford to actually stay outside the circle as well. But AGXT9, one of the squads that is trying their best, they are actually trying to put their name up there. They are struggling in the process, but I'm pretty sure in meanwhile, if they keep on doing the way they are doing, they might just be able to successfully do anything or successfully pull off anything they want. But Logwin, we have been seeing such a consistent performance from them as well.
Yeah, we certainly have been seeing them over on those top spots for themselves, courtesy to all those position points. But, you know, I think slowly but surely they will be starting to pick up a few kills after they're really confident that they've got a good lead for themselves. But this is where, you know, the nerves really melt, you know. Blood Legion, even with the likes of Team ERZxTRZ, they're not having a good time. Blood Legion's still getting a lot of kills, so that is kind of keeping them in the race for the top spots. But ERZxTRZ somehow have kind of, you know, look like they're diminishing out, and they're not shining like they used to do in those, you know, group stages. So they need to get themselves back. They need to collect their thoughts. They need to calm down, because this is completely different ERZxTRZ that we are witnessing in those regional finals. They do not look confident. Earlier, we saw, you know, sparks of brilliance from, you know, this particular team with the way they were trying to enter inside those final circles, still taking those fights head on. But that has been completely missing out. Now, with the circle taking a shift down south, now this is a good possible chance for the players of ERZxTRZ and A1 Esports 952 to kind of redeem themselves, try to get that chicken, because so many teams have to rotate from up north. And look at XCVS, they've still not made it inside the circle yet.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely have chosen the longest path inside the circle. Yeah, of course, they are going to be getting a free pass inside. But if they keep on moving, they are going to get caught off guard. But as we take a look at the lawnmower airdrop, but I'm going to hold on to my words for a moment, because we are seeing Dominic just completely decimate the team that is in front of him, which is going to be INFE. And this is the iconic moment that we all wanted to see. It seems like Rayan is going to be just making that flank in through possible. Rayan, is he going to be able to take the last member down? And that's exactly going to be happening. Blood Legion coming out on top in the massive iconic fight that has been occurring so far.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. I just completely messed that one up, didn't I? But, you know, Blood Legion, wow, I gotta give it to them. Dominic, the way he just flanked from the back lines, and INES, they were completely caught off guard. Now, it was the map of Erangel where INERTIA certainly did wipe out Blood Legion, but they come in strong, they come in hot, get those kills running in for themselves, and this is a fair fight that we are talking about. Nobody intruded, and they somehow managed to come out on top with that one. This is the Blood Legion that we've known to see across different maps throughout those group stages. But now in the regional finals, when the time has finally come, they're kind of maintaining their consistent gameplay. I haven't seen a lot of changes in the style. They do not look scared at all. Considering it's their first time playing the PMCOs, they're doing so very well.
Indeed, they are doing so very well, but that was the most iconic fight that have been happening so far, other than the demon moment that happened in the previous map, Miramar, as I was talking about. It just puts a smile all the time when I remember about it. But so now, take a look at the situation that IPG4 ARC has put themselves in. Of course, they do have that hill disadvantage going in through, but at the same time, they do have a lot of cover to move around and even just overall reposition themselves. But Wolves, they are seeming pretty strong in the entire fight, or the entirety of Erangel map that we have been watching this last time now. But Wolves, they have all their teammates healthy. They have each and every single one going up against over here. And as Alex ironic, seems like they are going to be walking up straight inside Wolves' trap. But Sickfly taking a little bit of separate position coming in for his team. He's just trying to find a different angle onto Wolves as well. But now just take a look at Execute. He's going to be capitalizing on the Jigsaw's position and it's going to be taking him down.
Baited, to be honest. That sick fly rotation was to kind of grab their attention towards him, and this is where Execute just comes out with his M16, popping off those bodies, getting those knocks, and now they're not going to have a difficult time in getting the confirmation on, because Arceus is also down. So this is a perfect opportunity. If they can even want to, they might as well push on towards the players of Wolves. So Wolves have been having a horrendous day in terms of positioning, in terms of kills, and everything can really go wrong, has already gone wrong, because now also in the final game where they really thought that they might look to redeem themselves, they've already took their shot.
Indeed, they are two-player shards, but now, of course, Wolves, things are not over for them. They can still try to contest those positioning points coming up for them, but now they will have to definitely back off from this fight and try to get an overall better position. But now, just take a look at the massive fight that is going to be occurring in front of us. Of course, Lockwood, one of the most consistent performing team that we have been seen so far. But now, are they going to be just able to survive the relentless aggression coming in from Blood Legions over there? Blood Legion want that blood. They are thriving. They do want those knockdowns going up against. And as we talk about, the first kill is going to be opening right onto Lock 1 there. Blood Legions, you are an absolute beast. The entire Blood Legion squad is not scared of anyone. As we take a look, another spray comes in from Leo, not going to be able to catch anyone off guard. Leo, is he going to be able to prove that he is the king of the jungle, though? This time, Gyro seems like he's just going to be stepping out. All right. What is happening inside? This is just so much chaos. It's actually hard for me to even read what's going on there, because there were complete smokes out, and each and every fights were just going up against each other, and Blood Legions did not even get any casualty inside that fight, and they were able to barely damage them. Blood Legions, how strong and good can you be?
In the wilderness, these guys really seem to strike. I mean, he went up on that shed. He was just spraying down with his eyes closed. He did not care. And it was smoke all around, and still, Blood Legion kind of completely engulfing the team of Log 1, like an amoeba out there, and of course getting those kills for themselves. So this is a game that they really look to be going in their favor, but XCVS, they're not far behind, even also getting a knock for himself, as we can see the players of IPGX trying to get on against ERZxTRZ. Now, they've been having a disastrous start this time, but this is where they start changing things around. But look at XCVS. Now, they've got their eyes already pinned, and the nade coming out from Jerry, taking down Ironclad, and also Jerry himself. How does that happen?
I don't really know what just happened in that situation, but now Demon has also went down to a beautiful nade coming in from them. But now, are they going to be able to do much, though? Max, Umar seems like he's just going to be camping inside the kitchen there, but is he going to be able to do much in the situation that he's put up against? But XCVS losing one of the finest players they have to offer, which is going to be Jerry. But Jerry seems like he is going to be backing off to his teammate, but no, it doesn't really seem like, no one's
the kill, though.
Yeah. But also at the same time, he did manage to do a little bit of damage onto Max. But now, one thing Blood Legions have definitely decided going up against inside this game, just take a look at the aggression coming in from Gyro. Are you scared of anyone, Gyro? You need to watch out a little bit. He is pushing a 3-man squad all by himself without any type of being scared of, without any fear. And now Gyro has already entered inside the house. Gyro, you need to be scared of people a little bit, and he's still going to be catching one guy off guard. Gyro, what are you doing? Are you not scared of anyone? Blood Legion is currently showing that they are the best teams that the entire Bangladesh region has to offer, and they are actually proving us wrong over here. Blood Legion, what are you doing? You're absolutely mowing down anyone that is coming up in front of you. Finally, the seamless aggression has been stopped, and Dominic is going to be lost in the process, but Gyro is right there to capitalize on the entire position, and Gyro is going to be taking him down as well. That's the entire squad wipe coming in from Blood Legion from Axe.
Again. And again, he's gone full gangster with that Tommy gun that he possesses. But we are back onto another fight that we have enhanced. ERZxTRZ going against IPGX. Two big teams, two big names. But who is going to come out in this skirmish? As the circle is definitely going to start closing in after 30 seconds that we have. Enough time for these players to build up their rotations, their flanks around. I love the positioning from ERZxTRZ. It's rare, but he's certainly given his spawn out. I mean, that's not where he's supposed to be. And he's just chasing down after the players of IPG4R, and now these players, they don't seem to care. All they want to do is try to get a better spot inside the circle. But look at XCvS, the last player surviving. That's Witcher, of course. Jerry was trying to get towards Witcher, but Leo did not certainly let that happen.
Indeed, Leo is, of course, the king of the jungle, as we'd like to say. He does not want to let any of his prey slip apart from him. But now just take a look at SLX over here, having a really hard time, struggling so much, barely making it on their knees. But now SLX, GR are just one man short now. It's just all down to him. How are they going to be? How is that one man going to be trying his best? It's going to be Koa. Is Koa going to be able to get those res onto his teammates? Does he have those smokes, grenades coming in? It seems like certainly he's going to be doing the same thing. Koa going to be sticking the res onto his teammate, but a gentleman seems like he will have to still get the first aid in. It's going to be taking so much time for him to get back in the healthy stage, but just take a look at the aggression coming in from Witcher. He's trying to find a new angle, but also at the same time, there is another fight erupting right in front of him. It's going to be B1 scoping it out right in front of him. It's going to be ERZxTRZ and IPGX. Which team is going to be coming out on top? ERZxTRZ already securing that first opening frag for them. Now, they are rushing inside the compound. As we take a look at Mehra Mufaz, that's been also taken down. Now, it's all down to B1. Is he going to be able to do much?
I do not know, but right now what these teams are going is they're not leaving any stones unturned. As B1, he's the last surviving player of IPGX, and he did manage to find a knock, but he will eventually be taken out as ERZxTRZ finally have managed to win this fight and finally look like they sort of have redeemed themselves. They've got all their 4 players alive, so that's a really good thing going into those final few circles. But SLX, ironic, they've gotten 5 kills for themselves. However, losing out an execute as the circle is slowly panning down towards the southern circle of Quarry.
Indeed. Now, this is the game that I was expecting to go. ERZxTRZ also in their finest performance. Blood Legion also in their finest performance. Avon also in their finest performance. All these teams are the teams that we have been witnessing in the past, but also KSX having all 4 of their members alive, trying their best to flush out anyone or just trying to get an easy knockdown onto one shot there, but doesn't really seem like the Molly is going to be connecting. Yeah, the Molly placement was really good behind the tree, expecting that there might be someone taking the cover behind the tree, but doesn't really seem like one shot is going to be that predictable, that easily predictable. As we take a look at one shot and Magneto, his teammate. Magneto was definitely one of the most consistent players that A1 has to offer there. But how is Magneto going to be capitalizing on the position or on the situation that he has been put up against? Now KSX definitely has all of their teammates alive. It's going to be 4v3 fight going up against each other. But which team is going to be coming out on top? KSX definitely having that numbers advantage if we talk about it, but KSX seems like they are finally going to be pushing in. And A1 one shot going to be finding one knockdown onto Sanhok. Is he going to be finding another one as we talk about? Yes, of course, he's going to be finding another one for himself.
Yeah, he certainly is going to do that. But Mehraz is still surviving. He's still one with the nature. His position, however, being compromised already. Now, A1 1952, they survive with 3 of their players alive with just 1 kill. But Magneto really needs to heal himself up as one shot going after Satan 69. Any single moment, he can just spot him out. And yes, he does realize there's someone, and he just hammers him down with that Uzi he's got. That's a glass cannon, a weapon I'm talking about. And I'm just kind of in the dark if he knows about the position of 6x69 over there.
Uzi's an absolute heater, as we like to call it, because it just completely melts down anyone that is in front of it. But now, Uzi definitely thriving in those close range, close quarter fights, as I would like to call it. But now, just take a look at ERZxTRZ's position. Such a massive and iconic position coming in for them. Now, Avon seems like they are going to be struggling a little bit because it's only down to that one last man for them. Are they going to be able to get the res in? But now, to take a look at the kill feed as well. Sakil also going down. Magneto from Avon also going down. But at the same time, SLR, Ironic Sketch, has also went down in the process as well. And there comes the elimination. AGXT9 finally going to get eliminated. And Sigfly again with the domination coming up, showing up against each and every single team that are surviving in the late games. But now, A1 Esports 1952, one of the most consistent teams, are getting eliminated on the 8th spot. Not going to be able to get much of the survival points for themselves. But now, Mamba, one of the consistent players ERZxTRZ has to offer. But how is he going to be capitalizing on the end circles, though?
He's got 11 first aids. He might as well go for that healing battle, but he still did manage to get a knock before he went out into cover.
White Cat, no.
And
White Cat, no. White Cat, no. Are you going to be able to make it out? It's circle. Oh my God, barely making it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just making a run for it. He's going after Atomic, but any single moment, if this vehicle bursts away, he's basically dead. And already players have started targeting it, and somehow he's still surviving. Has got those 3 first aids to work out with. And Mamba being too out in the open, and he should have at least given away his first aids if he did not really intend to, survive. But the nade coming in over there from the players over here from SLX Ironic, 6 fly 69, doing so much, already garnering 5 kills for his squad.
KSX, one of the big names, getting eliminated as well. They're not really able to show their magic this early on. And as we talk about ERZxTRZ also getting eliminated, SLXGR also getting eliminated as well. What is going on? God's Reborn, you were not certainly in a really good position. As we take a look, Wolves still managing to survive, barely holding on to the string there. And as we take a look, XP Blood Legion have 18 kills on their name. What are they doing? They're completely dominating the entire lobby, as I would like to call them, the lawn mowers. And now it seems like Gyro, just take a look at Gyro. This man is just driving a vehicle in the end circles. This man has lost his mind. He's just not scared of anyone because he just has that confidence in himself. No matter which situation he gets put into, Gyro definitely is and certainly is going to be finding a way out of it. But now, overall, take a look at IPG4 ARC. They do have all their members alive in this late game, which will definitely be given a little bit of advantage in the process of going in. But also, Blood Legions do have 3 members alive. Now, which team is going to be coming out on top? Yeah, Wolves are getting pinned down in between. Are they going to be able to do much? Now, Asian barely surviving as well, and seems like 1 knockdown has already went in, and things are going to get evened out between Blood Legion and even IPG4 ARC as Dictator just going to be taking a cover right next to Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is a good job by the players from Wolves BD, finally managing to survive for so long. But look at Blood Legions. I mean, Gyro, he is an unfathomable force of nature. He does not seem like stopping at all. As Leo, he's going to cook that grenade out. Is it going to connect, though? And if it does, he's going to take down 2 players. But that did some chip damage over there. And now the animals have been unleashed from the zoo. Now they are in the natural habitat. And look at the mayhem they are causing throughout the entire lobby.
Indeed, it's the battle between the Wolves and the Lions, which is going to be Leo, which is going to be the king of the jungle over here. This is going to be interesting to see. Now is Gyro, of course, one of the strongest members they have currently, and this man is just barraging the nets right onto Wolves, but doesn't really seem like he is still aware of the position that Wolves are in right now, because if he was, of course, he would be taking those aggressive peeks, because we all know this man is not scared of anyone. Gyro just trying to find out, just trying to jump spot anyone that is in front of him. And it seems like he does have a little bit of info on the Wolves position, because Jigsaw and Asian are just crawling down, and Asian doesn't really seem like he has any kind of heals going up against for him, because if he certainly had those heals at this point in time, he would have definitely used those. But now IPG4 ARC and Wolves, they are right next to each other. One thing they can do here is actually try to work with each other and try to take Blood Legions down, because they are just absolutely unbeatable. If we were just to looking at the seamless aggression these guys were just showing, they are just not scared of anyone.
They certainly aren't. And right now, Blood Legion, they are going against Team Wolves over here. And Jigsaw, like I mentioned, he's camouflaged. Agent does have that ghillie suit to play along, but considering he has that vehicle, he might just get spotted really early. But as things are going, Blood Legion having the best position, having the majority of the players going in their favor. It's a 3v2v1 from what we're seeing, or maybe it's a 3v2v2. So let's see how things are going to pan out as finally Leo pops off, taking down Venom, but Leo gets instantly traded off by Stranger, who has got that Vector running for himself. Gyro, he's been spotted out, his vehicle has been blown, but he still does not seem like he wants to stop. He just kind of took a pause over there, and now Gyro just going ham, but whoa, what do we see over here? 22 kills, the 20 bomb has finally been hit.
Exactly, Blood Legion just showing that they are the king of the hills, and now it's all down to Stranger. Is he going to be able to withstand the damage that has been put against Blood Legion? And certainly he is not going to be able to clutch the situation out. And Blood Legion, with those massive kill numbers, going to be taking the chicken dinner.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
23 kills.
Look at the damage. 3,225.
Oh my god.
They are a female now.
They are literally the king of the jungles.
Yes, they are certainly are. With the way they took those fights. Now this is Blood Legion playing in their true colors, you know, opening up finally. You know, they had those games that, you know, they were kind of being scared, they were kind of being suppressed, they were kind of, you know, doubting themselves in taking those fights. Now, Gyro was like, nah, chuck it. I do not really care anymore. I am going ham. I am going berserk this time. That was a beast mode activated, and what an amazing performance by the lads as we take a look at who the MVP is, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows. Yep, there you go.
12 kills going
He's a
up
monster.
Dude, this man is not scared. As we take a look, all these teams, of course, they have the fact in their mind that, yeah, we are playing a really massive tournament here. We do not want to lose any of our players early on. But Blood Legion is just like, Gyro is one of the king of the, like one of the lions that is like in a cage, and then Blood Legion is like, okay, we're going to be opening the cage. You have to go and just finish everyone down. And they just open the cage while Gyro is just completely showing the aggression, just runs right onto his opponent, takes each and every single player down. And we just saw him just completely decimating the entire team of Max.
Every single one that came in front of him was just taken away. Even that included Team Max. But now let's take a look at top players that we had in the lobby. So has to be Gyro, has to be Ryan, and yeah, Mab also kept himself up over there, but 6/69. The way he dealt with ERZxTRZ towards the end, you know, that final grenade, that grenade of death going out from his side, that was beautiful, that was mesmerizing to watch. But, you know, nothing taken away from the other players of Blood Legion as well. You know, Ryan, Leo, everybody, you know, doing their job, doing their part. And same can be said for Dominic here. Rather, he had an early exit considering they got the chicken dinner, but as long as they're getting points like this, you know,
it's fine even if they lose players.
Got more points from kills. I mean, they kind of compensated for 2 games altogether, but let's take a look at the match summary and see how the numbers game went along.
Of course, Gyro with those highest kills. I'm just so impressed at this point. Even highest damage, 1,302. But ERZxTRZ Mamba seems like he has been getting those rotations in for his team as well. But now take a look at Ryan with those maximum assists.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, but I must say that, you know, I really liked how Dominic played that fight against INES. I mean, they kind of... all 3 players push from one direction, and Dominic just comes from behind and completely catching the players of INES with their pants down, and all their attention was right in front, and they kind of they did not really see him coming. And so that's the kind of support I would need for my team. He was the flanker over there, and that was a very, very ruthless flank, to be honest. I mean, INES could not really do anything about it, and finally the revenge finally being taken by the players of Blood Legion. And of course, we can never rule out that mean Tommy gun that, you know,
Gyro was just meaning each and every single bullet. I feel like he was literally counting on each and every single bullet that he was throwing from that Tommy gun, because it didn't really seem like he missed any of his shots there. Yeah, of course, at the same time, he was just mowing everyone down that was in front of him. But as you talked about Dominic, I would really want to focus on the fact that with the way Dominic plays, I feel like he is one of the like flankers that Blood Legion has to offer, because the way he has been playing, the way he has been getting those kills, I feel like all the kills that so far he has gotten, I feel like they are all from the flank that has been coming from Dominic, because in that one fight we definitely saw him taking that car away on the hilltop and then going up behind the guy and then completely just mowing him down, also getting the flank advantage and also getting the high ground advantage as well. This is where Dominic just really such a good player in those positions.
Yeah, it certainly is. And as we head along to the match rankings, we will have a rather better idea as to, you know, how Blood Legion really performed. 38 kills.
They're
for these men.
They're literally just taking a jump, like just a massive jump right on the leaderboard, and I feel like they are going to be putting themselves into such a high spots.
Yeah, and at the same time, we did not really get to see the players of Exentric really kicking off this time around. I mean, back-to-back 2 bad performances is definitely going to pull them down. But yeah, like you mentioned about Dominic, I completely agree with you. The kind of a flat role that he's, playing for his team, and he's been delivering, right? You need a player who's got really crisp aim, but at the same time, you need to have a very good understanding about your positioning when you kind of go solo, because once you get knocked out, you're basically done. There's no one coming in for your support. There's no one going to come for your assist, because you are kind of a lonesome wolf left in the dark, and you've got to save your pack. And that's what Dominic did, right? And in various occasions, you might tend to fail because there are other teams that can spot you out. But for what he has contributed to the squad, his role was to get his team up rolling. So now as we move along further, so these teams, Exentric, INERTIA taking such early exit, and the same can be said by Log1, and everyone kind of getting wiped out courtesy to its Blood Legion and Max Esports. Well, they did a pretty decent job at taking down XCvS, but that was again a tricky fight because, Jerry, he did throw that nade out, he got one player, but he also knocked himself in the process. But as we move along to the Oppo moments, we are going to witness the onslaught, the wrath that these boys dealt in the lobby.
Indeed, we are going to be witnessing the domination, the entire domination spree that Blood Legion was showing, but also over here, these are the early fights that were happening outside the zone, and in the process as well, EC just getting completely caught off guard. And this was the fight that I was talking about. The two greatest teams just going up against each other. Which team was going to be coming out on top? Of course, it's going to be Blood Legion, because they're certainly just proving all the time that they are the best that the whole entire Bangladesh region has to offer.
I mean, they're not scared. They're not looking, they're not looking like they're under heavy pressure. All they want to do right now is to prove themselves as one of the biggest teams representing their country. And if they continue playing like this, I'm pretty sure they are guaranteed that Pro League spot. But that's where they're not looking to stop. That's where they're not looking to, guys, we finally got famous. We're playing the big leagues now. Let's just slack off. I think this team has got the potential to really make it big, not just in the Bangladesh region, but throughout the entire South Asia.
True, indeed. They do have the potential and they do have the charisma to actually get on top of those positions. But now, what I really want to see is, like, in those upcoming days, how Blood Legion is going to be performing. If they're able to keep up this exact same pace, if they're able to keep up the exact same formula that they are going up against in the future days, I feel like Blood Legion might just freeze that top 1 spot for them. But now what I'm really interested to see is that overall rankings, because I'm pretty sure Blood Legion has taken that huge leap on top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. Even I'm kind of anticipating, Exentric and, the boys from Exentric Infinity kind of taking a dip down below. And, now before we go into overall rankings, we need to take out that mean damage graph that we have, which is going to completely be off the charts. And there you go.
Look at that.
I mean, could it be any less? 23 kills.
Dude, Blood Legions is just an absolute lawnmower. They are just mowing anyone down, and they're certainly not scared of anyone. Yeah, of course, those top 3 games weren't really going in the Blood Legion favor, but they were like, you know what, guys, this is exactly the time where we need to show off. We are not really able to do much while we're trying to play passive and strategic, because this is not just our playstyle. Our playstyle is to just get in there and then just figure out whatever just happened, and then we are going to be positioning ourselves, and this is exactly what Blood Legion did. They were not figuring out anything. They didn't figure out rotations as well. They were just going in a straight line. They were literally just drilling in while the teams were just in their way. They were just killing anyone in their way. As we saw Max also getting eliminated, as we saw just so many big names getting eliminated by Blood Legions.
Everyone that came in their path was taken down. That will certainly be reflected in the overall rankings, where we might just see them on top. Yes, we do.
Oh my God.
This is preposterous, to be honest. 65 points and 42 kills already just in the span of 4 games. Almost, even more, at least ranging around 10 kills per game. So that's how brutal this team has been.
Oh my God, I just can't. They literally filled the gap they have been left in those past few maps, and in this one map, like, they literally managed to get 23 frags for them.
23
in one game.
In one game, and they still managed to retain the top spot. But with that being said, XCVSE, they're not far behind. 52 points, not too shabby. They've been getting those, a balance between their kills and their position points. But this is where Log1 needs to understand that just by surviving, you cannot be on top. Still maintaining that top 3 position, but Exentric Infinity, they're kind of taking a dip down under. As we can see, ERZxTRZ finally starting to redeem themselves, finally starting to recover. Because, to be honest, right now the gap is still not really huge. It's still minuscule. It's still doable. One good game, one good chicken from any of these teams might just, escalate them up into the top 8 position.
Of course, yeah. I mean, if these teams, of course, get that wave flowing in, and get that water flowing in their way, of course, they might be able to get that top position secured for them. But ALxK9, just take a look at this team. No matter how they try, they are still going to be struggling in those early upcoming games as well. But now ALxK9, what they need to do is they need to show a really consistent performance that are coming up games. Now, it's definitely going to be harder for them to do, because just the way we saw them today getting countered instantly by each and every single team that was in the map, no matter up against who they went, they were always just getting tackled easily.
Now let's take a look at the forces of nature, the kill leaders that we have for you. And not surprised.
Blood Legion's just rolling everyone down, and seems like one thing I feel like they literally just slapped everyone down that was in front of them and just made them come down and just crumble down. Exactly what I would want to say. Just take a look at the damage numbers that the Legion has to offer over here. 2,467 with 19 kills, and Rayan with 11 kills. I'm just so fascinated, while Demon, of course, one of the funny players that XCvS has to offer.
I mean, you talk funny, I say he's smart. And, to be honest, the kind of shenanigans that he pulled off during Miramar, that's kind of immortalized right now. Everyone is going to remember how he played. I mean, had this been in a tournament like a PAL or maybe a World League or maybe the GC, that would have gone into the archives over there. But we've always seen these players, put up such performances. Even during the last time, it was the boys from, I believe, it was Steel Shot who pulled up something really new inside Nearby Ruins. Now, this is what we are also going to remember, what he did over there in Miramar. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally done with all the matches, and what a start it has been. I mean, just the first day and all these teams are just roaring inside the lobby, and the action is gonna continue even tomorrow as we finally take your leave. Goodbye and love you all.